embracing joy and authenticity. And so we're going to start with a quick welcome breath. So we can all just set and ground ourselves with, so that we can receive the information that is being shared today, and that we can let go of all the other worries and constraints that we might be holding on to in a moment. Okay, so we're going to rub our hands together, shake it off. You're going to put them on your lap. And when you put your hands on your lap, feel free to close your eyes if you like. Feel that energy just go shooting down your leg, running out of your feet onto the earth. And continue to feel that energy as a coil reaching down into the core of Mother Earth, grounding you, protecting you, nourishing you. Cleansing you of all that does not serve you today. And at the same time that you're grounding yourself, feel your crown chakra open and reaching towards the heavens. The gorgeous silver and gold swirling light coming down, filling you up with love, healing, protection, higher awareness, consciousness. Take a time to find one thing you're grateful for today. And as you're thinking of that gratitude, put your hands on your heart chakra. Take a deep breath in and out and just let it fill you up. More gratitude. Thank you for gathering us here today. Thank you for the opportunity to bring love, connection, and giving and generosity for people to heal through the holidays and know that they're supported, and that there are people here who is a community waiting for them. And so we're thankful for that, and I'm grateful for you for being here with me today. And with that, thank you. All right, here we are at the rising to your radiance. I'm gonna share my screen again, and we can get this show on the road. Yes, so yesterday we talked about limiting beliefs, and we shared easy ways to have a better than health and fitness mentality. We had really great tips and techniques on how to have joy and abundance in your life. And so I just was curious to see if anybody here was able to use or try any of the exercises that that were shared yesterday. And if you had any takeaways or if you felt any shifts or emotional release, please share. Trina.
I do. I loved it all. So it was so good. It was so good to be invited. I said this yesterday and I'll repeat it, Margarita. Before yesterday, I hadn't even stopped to think about the holidays. So your invitation in your text message to me was an invitation to like come into this space of like, what's Margarita doing? And then I get here and it's like, oh, Christmas is coming. Thank you for the reminder. That is huge to me. And I loved what Danielle said, where she talked about, preparing this space. It's like as a mother, we get to prepare this space for the baby to come and, get it ready. What is this new baby that's going to be born in December, this new 2024 baby going to look like? And we get to like stop, present, connect with God, and really like set an intention for what we want to receive at Christmas. Who do we want to be? Who do we want to give? And Danielle talked about that, like giving in generosity. And then too, I loved Taylor's piece about forgiveness. I love her. And the forgiveness message. I love Janet. Like these people are so precious to me on my Global Game Changers team. I love their souls. and I love how they show up in the world, and I love just like listening to them. So I loved what, I always love hearing Janet, she's just like, just do a little bit better. And then Kia Levine, so I popped out for a little bit, I think, after Janet's talk, and I came in during Kia's when she was talking about our bodies. And like, I'm 45, so I've been probably menstruating for like 3 decades and never thought about, oh, that time of our moon cycle is a time to let go. To me, that's magical, right? And that's a gift I get to give to my daughters now, because they're at that age where they're just starting those moon cycles, and it gets to be a celebration, not like, oh, this gross, icky thing I wish I could avoid in my life every month, right? Like, just changing the energy on that is a huge gift, like a huge legacy gift to my children. And I loved everything else she said too. And just about our energy. And I love Patrick and hearing his like deep voice, because I always like, I just love the resonance of your voice, Patrick. And I told Patrick at the end, I'm like, just like record me an audio and I'll listen to it all the time, and I'll just like, whoa, like
I'll
that
be
deep
hiring him to do my meditation.
energy into my, because I'm a single woman and my son's voice hasn't quite hit that low resonance. So I always love to have that like male energy in my home.
Yes, I love what you shared. I definitely is one of the things that I'm taking away from yesterday for my kid. She hasn't not had her moon cycle yet. She's 12, so it's any day now. And one of the things that I'm creating is this little this special ceremony box with her, where we're gonna smudge crystals, do like a burning affirmation for to get her every time to do a ritual when her period starts. And I love the idea now to add what he had mentioned, what was to like everything that doesn't serve you, and just kind of release it and like let it go with your cycle. And I was just like, that's so empowering. And there's power to that, it's like, oh my gosh, I wish, right? I had this when I was a kid, because I would have probably not had so many debilitating cramps had I been accepting of it, right? Like maybe there's a connection there. So thank you for sharing that, Trina. And that is definitely, if you guys didn't get a chance to watch yesterday's recording, please, I urge you to. There was a lot of really great nuggets that were dropped that are powerful, and it will definitely shift your mentality, especially at the holidays. So I want to get moving on and talk about authenticity. Thank you for sharing, Trina. So authenticity, what does authenticity mean to you?
Being real.
Anybody else?
Taking off the masks, really, right? My daughter, up here in Alberta, we have this cool program for high school students that actually can get high school credit for it. And the whole thing is about them going off into the wilderness for 6 days and taking off masks, right? And then like learning how to choose, who do I want to be in the world?
100%, Trina. Like I like to say is be the chooser, and to go off of what we got yesterday, about being joyful. Attitude is gratitude, and just being grateful, and always remembering why you're grateful. You have a roof over your head, you have a car in the driveway, you're able to drive, you're able to talk and speak and walk. There's a lot of things that I like to be grateful for, because my near-death experience, I'm like, so but yes, definitely.
Anybody else have? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd love to share. I did all 4 years of college. I was a facilitator for a leadership program for freshman students coming into college. And the facilitator used to have a phrase that I carry on with me, and now I have a different meaning to it. She used to say, cash in your cool card. So we're dealing with like 17, 18, 19-year-olds coming into college, and we're asking them to engage in these fun activities where you're dancing and you're silly and you're sharing about yourself. And she would say, cash in your cool card. Here, you're not cool. Here, we don't care about what people think about you. You get to dance. You get to enjoy yourself without the the fear of, oh my God, I'm going to be judged. Oh my God, I feel ashamed for dancing, for experiencing my joy. So for me, authenticity really is embracing myself, leaning into what I want to say, how I want to express my joy, my creativity, my passions without that fear of how am I going to be perceived? How am I going to be judged? How does this relate to the standards in society of what's allowed and what's okay? You can be different so long as it's in the confines of what we're comfortable in. So authenticity is for me a constant choice of choosing to remove the mask and allowing myself to be regardless of how I'm interpreted and seen, because I'm being true to myself. So that's my take. Thank you for listening.
Yes, that's beautiful. I love what you said about choosing and taking off the mask, right? Because I feel like we put on the mask to protect us. Not that we want to hide, but we feel unsafe. And so and it looks a lot of different ways. Like my biggest mask is the avoider mask. And I have a victim and a controller. And those are my first three. Anytime there's a stress situation, those are the first three that I gravitate towards. And then so that all that does is create more disconnect, and people feel that I don't care, even though I feel like I care too much, that I want to disappear because the weight of it is too heavy. Right. And so it's interesting, their perception and then my reality. So that's why it's so key and important to be curious about what makes people tick, and not just sign them off or blow them off or write them off and being like, oh, they're just an a-hole. No, they got a story too. Some people are, but they got a story too, right? Maybe they didn't get hugged. Maybe they had horrible parents. Maybe they didn't have parents. Maybe they went home to home in a foster care and were abused. Like everybody has a story. And it's at the holidays that we get to really, really sit in compassion and empathy for that, because we would want that for ourselves. And so that's why this mastermind came to my heart, because oftentimes I've heard too many friends and family and people that I know who've taken their lives. And COVID just made it that much more intense for people, being disconnected, feeling hopeless and helpless. And we're social beings. We're supposed to come together in community, in a village, and support one another and be there and help each other, raise each other up, not compete with one another. And it's time that we finally start having heart and treating people the way that we want to be treated. How many times do we hear that, but we forget? And it's so easy for us to forget and make it personal. We take everything so personally. That person who cut you off is not trying to piss you off. They're having a bad day. That person who didn't smile at you or snickered at you because you said something, it's not about you. They probably their family member just probably died, or he found out they had cancer. No. So before you judge, before you criticize, step in and consider that perhaps they're going through a lot just like you. So having compassion and empathy is huge, because if that's what you want, you get to give it so that you receive it. If you don't give compassion, love, and empathy, you're not going to receive it. So in the season of giving and generosity, that's where we get to go. So I wanted
Margarita.
Yes,
Okay.
Cynthia, please share.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add to what you're saying, and thank you to everyone for your beautiful words. But as you were speaking, I'm recalling just, we can never know by looking at somebody what they're going through. So whether that be because they're wearing a mask and they're like super friendly, or maybe they're not speaking at all, we can never really know what someone's going through. And one of the epidemics in the world is loneliness. And that includes our elders, that includes, single parents, that includes children. It really includes everybody. When I think about the holiday season, my partner and I will continue to do what we have been doing. And part of what we see as Christmas is gifts of time and showing the caring. So for example, this is a big example, but this just happened a few weeks ago, where our elderly neighbor got hit by a truck, and the truck driver kept driving, but a nurse by chance found him and called an ambulance. But while he was in the hospital, he's our neighbor, so he's right beside us, and somebody broke into his car and smashed his window. What was amazing, I knew that my partner was going to help with it, but he did it so quickly. He made all the arrangements, and he took the car in and he got the car fixed. And then he pulled the car into our yard and covered it, so it's all safe until our neighbor came home. And I was so proud of him, right? You can't help but love someone more when, out of generosity, they just take care. And so that time to do that, the care that he showed, these things will continue, because, and I think somebody said it, the most important thing in the world is to show each other that we care, right? So that's the part where you're taking the time. So for Christmas, I know it might be very hard for some people, especially as we're coming out of COVID and many people lost their jobs. That's the case in my household too, where there's just one income here. But it's those gifts of time and those small gestures that light somebody up, right? So I did something that seemed quite small for my other neighbor. And the next day she came to my house and she had hand knit 2 scarves, and one was for me and one was for my partner. And she did it overnight. It was totally unexpected. So the beautiful thing is, when you just give from your heart, there's other gifts that you receive that are unexpected. So, oh, thanks for the heart, Patrick.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are just, so my message really is, over Christmas, you can do things that don't cost anything, right? And those gifts of time, cooking, getting groceries, shoveling somebody's driveway. If you don't have snow, we could still have leaves on the ground, whatever it is, right? So all those things matter, and people feel that they're being seen, right? Because they might be isolated because they can't get out of the house. So those are just some quick ideas and supports, hopefully, for your audience here.
Thank you, Cynthia, for that beautiful share. And I love what you said about the gift of time, because it doesn't cost anything. And but it has so much more value than that $50 gift that you went and grabbed. So like, what percentage of the time do you guys feel you're authentic? Like, how much time, or other people, do you feel like there's a fine line between authenticity and then speaking your truth from a combative, like, defensive space, right? So like, do you guys, can you guys tell me the difference? Like, what makes one authentic and to land with people, and what makes one authentic and then like not land with someone? Do you guys can tell me the difference? Like, what way of being?
Yeah, I think in terms of those two differences, one would be heart. I think authenticity for me is really speaking from the heart. And yes, there have been times I speak, truth that may sound combative and make other people, feel uncomfortable because they either can't relate to my struggle, or they're just not in the mood to, they don't want to hear it, right? So I think speaking from heart is really important. And I think in terms of ways of being, to overcome, those ways that we tend sometimes to speak and an energy that might come across as combative, I think it's really about trust. And, we started this beautiful session today with beautiful words and a prayer. It sounded like a prayer to me anyway. And I think when we trust in a higher power and absolutely have the belief that the universe or the creator, whatever you call it, has your back, that shifts energy. So that way of being in trust and belief that everything will work out. I know in my family, we practice, we're practicing to change our language to say, oh yeah, that will change. I just have to focus on what I want, not what I fear, but focus on what I want. So that having the belief before you see it is a really important concept, I think.
Of that. Anybody else want to give their thoughts?
Yeah,
Chris?
share. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. So for me, I'm not entirely sure what the percentage is, but I know that I strive to make it higher every day. I'm totally going to butcher the quote, but there's an author called Chuck Palahniuk, and there's a quote about how we're just made up, we're a collection of the people around us. So if a boyfriend in high school really loved the band Fall Out Boy, and I'm like, ooh, do I love the band Fall Out Boy because I love it, or because I dated him for 5 years and he loved it? So it's just a constant questioning of, am I choosing this for myself? Am I choosing this because I was taught to choose this? Was I told to calm down and that's why I don't express my joy as much? Have I been encouraged to speak out loud, and sometimes even I fight my own discomfort to do so? And kind of like Cynthia said, oh my God, I totally lost my train of thought. I just had it, and you mentioned it, and it totally sparked something. But to me, it's just a constant choice. Oh, it was about offending people, or people, being misunderstood. I think something I really got to learn to be in my authenticity is that I'm not responsible for other people's feelings. So if speaking my truth and allowing myself to be myself is going to cause or stir up some type of feeling, like I get to familiarize myself that will happen, and I get to choose to still, speak how I want to, or be how I want to be, being mindful that it might stir up some thoughts or some feelings in the person or people that I'm communicating with. So to me, it's a constant choice, and I strive to be 100% in my authenticity.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love what you said, because oftentimes I've heard that their reaction is not my responsibility. And it's true, because goes back to what I said earlier. We always want to make it about us, right? And that person's going through something. Maybe you said something that triggered something very painful for them. But one thing for me, like when I think about authenticity, is everything you guys said. And for me, it's also about being neutral and not having expectation, and then having the right intention behind it. Because if my intention is to be right by being authentic, then that I need to be right energy behind it. And that person's going to sense that regardless of what I say. So for me, authenticity is having intention to be loving and compassionate, and to have them feel heard. Because Cynthia, you said earlier, everybody wants to be seen and heard. And then we're all carrying around our fears and our doubts. And that's how someone can be heard, right? Is to come from a place of authenticity, but neutrality, and also with the intention to create connection and love, and not the opposite. So that's what I just wanted to land, that intention is what people feel, the energy. You mentioned earlier, like you walk into a room and you could tell someone's in a bad mood, or somebody just got in a fight, or there's happy energy, and you just all of a sudden feel better, even though you weren't. So energy speaks louder than words. And so with that, we get to be mindful about how we're showing up. And if we're getting direct feedback and as negative, then maybe think about how your way of being, like, what's your intention? Is your intention to be right about the situation? Because sometimes being right is not choosing the relationship. Being right is choosing you and saying no to them. So people feel more isolated because of that. And at the time during holidays, we get to focus on how to create stronger bond, and not create more ripples that are going to push the people that we love further away. And it's oftentimes we do it with unintentionally. And so I wanted to now talk about, one of my speakers is not here. And so I'm just gonna move on to do an energy freedom technique tapping. Is anybody here familiar with EFT,
Yes.
Trina? Great. Have you used it before? And you have positive experiences? So, and you know the efficacy of
Oh, yeah.
it. Yes.
I
So
studied it. I studied it for years with the Tapping World Summit for like a decade. I was on every annual summit.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of getting on a few connected calls with you, Trina, and I see you. And I can't wait to talk to you later today about like what it is that you do, because you really are in tune to listening to yourself and what makes you tick. And I love that. And I would love to talk
Hey,
about
we
it.
got the mash burn. So good.
Hi, hi, John.
Welcome.
Welcome. All right, so emotional freedom tapping or technique is EFT. It's a holistic healing technique that involves gently tapping on specific acupressure points, which is the meridians that in Chinese medicine. And they're on the body while focusing on emotional challenges or issues. So its principles are grounded in traditional medicine, Chinese medicine, and modern psychology, combining elements of exposure therapy, cognitive restructuring, and somatic stimulation. So EFT tapping is often used for various emotional challenges, such as anxiety, stress, phobias, PTSD, and more. I've seen, this is amazing. Holistic approach aims to address both the emotional and the physical aspects of these challenges, offering a tool for self-healing and emotional release. Regular practice of EFT tapping is believed to facilitate a more balanced emotional state and improved overall well-being by releasing those emotional blockages stored in the body. So I just want to share with you a quick story on how EFT cured my chronic hip pain.
Oh, wow.
I had debilitating chronic hip pain. And not to mention, I had chronic fatigue, debilitating depression. And it was all based around my unworthiness. And so when I learned EFT, and it was around COVID when I started to really learn a lot of these holistic modalities, I was sitting there caretaking a woman and living with her 5 days a week, 24/7, away from my family. And I'm sitting there in the debilitating hip pain that started off as sciatic pain. And it's gotten worse after I had my children. So I had my kids 12 years ago, and it just got worse and worse to the point where it would take me a full minute to be able to stand up straight from a sitting position. And I often would have a yoga mat, a yoga roller, or like a small little softball type of ball in acupoints to like relieve some of the pain. And I would be crying in so much, writhing in pain. And so I was sitting there and I was in pain, and I was just like, what is this pain? And I decided to like just get curious about it. And so I asked myself, and I heard it was still guilt and shame. And I was like, what do I still have guilt and shame about? And then I realized I was still holding on to my childhood, having guilt and shame around not being there for my sister, shame about like my ways of being because I didn't have a father, I didn't feel worthy. And so I started to go, okay, all right, why am I still feeling guilty? And then I started to really kind of review my whole past. And then I started to relive it. And I started crying. And I realized that I was like, wow, I still have a lot of emotional charge pent up and blocked inside that hasn't been released. And so then I had that intention. Here goes that word again, intention. I had the intention to finally release it. I go, this is your opportunity to just let it go. And so I'm sitting there and I'm crying. I'm just crying, I'm crying. And I don't have an actual script. I'm just feeling the feelings, and I'm just tapping on these points. I'm just tapping as I'm going. Woo! Just feeling that, just talking about it and doing those tapping and feeling it again. All of a sudden, after, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, don't know how long it was actually, but I felt a rush from my hip, my right hip, go all the way down to the soles of my feet. Like a rush of energy, almost like goosebumps going all the way down my leg. And in that moment, my pain was gone. And my pain has not come back since, guys, since. And I've done everything. I had MRIs, I've had massages, stretching, all in the doctor's eye. There's nothing wrong with your spine. I don't know why you're in so much pain. And I realized it's not because I had a physical issue. It was an emotional block that I had held on to since I was a child. And so what that does is when you have an emotional block, that it's an emotion that is not released or processed or even acknowledged, it stays in there. And that we are made of energy. We have energy ribbons, and we have like 9 different energy systems. And when the meridian gets blocked from that emotion, it starts to it either gets blocked and no energy goes through, or it starts to redirect itself. And so you start to get unbalanced, right? You have an imbalance in your body, and over time, you start to feel small things like pain, discomfort. That's your body's way of saying, hey, hello, alarm, something's wrong. You're ignoring me. That's the early signs your body is telling you that there is an imbalance, to check in and figure out what it is. And so when I did that, I was just like, this stuff is powerful. And I can't wait to go and do and talk more about this. But I see that my friend Rosalind is here. She is our first guest speaker coming up to talk about how to get unstuck, especially at the holidays. And I just want to read and introduce her to you here. Her name is Rosalind Holder, is a founder of Stagnant to Stilettos. I just love that name. It's a transformative coaching, and it is where ladies are learning to live out their lasting legacy with the Lord by loving and leading others in their lives with a whole lot of laughter. Through coaching, Rosalind supports you to break free from self-sabotaging patterns, find your purpose, and embrace lasting transformation. Rosalind is a certified Maxwell Leadership Team member, and an Enneagram coach and DISC facilitator, and professional singer. She will guide you on your journey towards commitment, confidence, and freedom. She has over 30 years of lifelong learning, singing, ministry, and entrepreneurial business experience. She is here to support you as you overcome obstacles, discover your potential, and choose joy. I love that. Please help me welcome Rosalind Holder today. Yeah. Hi, look at you, gorgeous. You look fabulous, lady.
Thank you. It's
Thank you
amazing what lipstick will do for people. Okay. So, just grab some lip gloss and here I go. So, are you ready for me to get started? Okay. Do you know that our thoughts are forerunners for our actions, attitudes, and mood? Have you been stuck for too long? Are you ready for a change? Well, I am here to encourage you to have hope for the holidays. As someone who's gone through grieving myself, and I've lost a brother suddenly, lost both parents in 2020, I feel like that I can help to encourage you during this time of loneliness. And a verse that was given to me back when I was in college it's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And because I am a woman of joy, and I have a lot of joy in me, sometimes when that has been a tough time, as during the holidays, I have chosen to find hope. And so we're going to take the word hope, and we're going to go through 4 principles of what hope is. And I want you to apply this to your life daily. The first one is H. And I want you to find something that creates happiness for you daily. Find something that you can look forward to. Engage in something that will bring you joy. This is something you can do daily. All these 4 principles, something that you can do daily. Like, challenge yourself to do something. Go out and intermingle with people socially. Watch a movie, listen to music, or even dance. I'm dancing to a Christmas song a day. That's what I'm challenging myself to do. Craft. My sister, I love going in her house because she loves to bake. I'm not one into baking, but she likes to bake and cook. So I'm the one that comes over, and I enjoy all that fun stuff. But find something either competitive or something like, for me to look forward to, hot chocolate, a cup of coffee that you just desire. Put on your favorite at the end of the day, take a bubble bath, light a candle, do something, write down something you want to do daily that brings you joy or happiness. It's just something small, but yet you'd be amazed at looking forward to something, what it can do for you. The next one is O, and that's others. Put others before yourself. There's an acronym out there. It's called Jesus, Others, and Yourself. And focus on others. It's not all about me, even though I have a shirt that I tell my husband when I want him to think about me, I put it on and I say it's about me. But this is not a time. This is a time when you want to really put forth an effort to reach out and to bless others. When you support others and you provide a sense of purpose when you can give and think about them. And when you have the purpose in your life, it gives you value. It's amazing what a smile can do, that even just listening to them, volunteer somewhere, encourage, reach out to your loved ones. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up the phone and I am going to call some people that I usually don't call. And another thing I'm going to do is host a gathering at my house tomorrow night. I'm going to be hosting a gathering that is going to bring in my family so I can support them so they can have more joy in their life right now. And sometimes my husband and I do not have children. And so we invest in our nieces and nephews. So family is very important to me, but sometimes it can be lonely. Sometimes the days can get long, but I choose to do. These are things that I do in my life. The next one is P, and that is to have a plan. Make plans to succeed. And what kind of Christmas do you want to have? At my house, we are having a house of joy, peace, and love. We're finding things to incorporate in our lives that have joy, peace, and love. And if you can choose that daily, setting intentions for your holiday, your holiday experience guides actions and decisions. If you do that, it will help to keep you on track. When you have a plan, it will help you to stay on track and go back to what the plan is. Also, when you have a plan, what does that look like for you? Everybody's plan is going to look different. And so when you can choose, like at our house, our plan is to have peace, joy, and love. And so you can create like a relaxing environment. You can schedule family activities, have a game night, have a movie night now. We like to watch a lot of the good Christmas movies that are out at this time of the year for us. And that's one thing that we like to do. We like to go out and find churches that may have a Christmas program and just enjoy and sit back and enjoy them and watch and just celebrate our Christ birth. And so that's what we do in our family. And also organize a gift exchange. That's what I'm going to do at our party. And that I'm going to gather people and we're going to have a gift exchange. We're not going to buy a gift for everybody in the family. We're buying one gift and we're going to exchange that to take the pressure off. And then the last one is E, energize. You've got to keep yourself energized. Well, at this time of the year, if many of you who live in America, there is that Energizer Bunny. And for the Energizer Bunny to keep going, all of a sudden its batteries do go out. And so sometimes to energize yourself, you need rest. And so rest will help to energize you if you have truly good rest. But yet to keep your body moving to energize yourself. Find things and activities that when you do this and you go out and you exercise, it combats sadness and being very lethargic. So, and it gets your juices moving. It gets the endorphins and things. So some people may be, I'm not in the winter sports because I'm down south. So I am outdoor activities. If you just want to go outside and take a walk, or people like to snow ski, I can't wait. Got me a jacket and I'm going to go soon I told my sister, give me one. I'm going to go watch all my nieces and nephews ski, but I want to go down one of them tube things. Yes. Watch me. So I'm going to keep my energy going. I'm going to keep the energy going. Exercise. Keep up your routine during this time. Keep up some kind of exercise routine. Be creative. You can be creative. You can write. You can paint. And of course, dance. Choose to dance with me daily. I love to dance. Now I have had some knee challenges, but yet I don't move as fast. But I find a way that I can wiggle and jiggle, and I can get it done. So do something. Just challenge yourself to do something that. So we have covered HOPE. If you look at each of these, each one, we have, there are 4 personalities that we do deal with. And the first one, if you're very outgoing, it's easy for you to be happy. But maybe if you're challenged with that, find something to be happy. The next one is others. Sometimes some personalities put others before themselves, but yet other strong personalities forget to put other people. Challenge yourself to do that. And the next one is plans. Sometimes we forget to make plans. Some of us are just so outgoing, we forget to organize and plan what we truly want. And the last one is energize. There are strong personalities that want to get me to move in, and sometimes I don't want to move. So with that said, I hope that you can find one of these in each of in your life that you can, the H, which is to be happy. Find one way you can choose to be happy. Oh, who can you reach out to? Who can you smile at when you're pushing your buggy in the grocery store? Watch what you get back. Watch how quick you get a smile back. And when you have plans, you know where you're going for the day. You're not just sitting back because you know that week between New Year's and Christmas and New Year's, that nobody knows what day it is, what time it is. Well, you have plans. You will know what day it is, what time it is, or you'll know where you're supposed to be. So with that said, I just want to wrap it up. And then make sure you energize yourself, because I did not say the E just then. But with that said, I just want to wrap it up and give this last little tidbit to you. In Romans 15:13, it says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the Holy Spirit." And that's in Romans 15:13. And you can get in touch with me by looking up rosalindholder.com. And I'm on Facebook as Rosalind Holder. And I want y'all to have the very merriest Christmas with hope.
Thank you, Rosalind. Oh my gosh, Rosalind, sorry. I just love that. I love your HOPE take on it. We do have time for one question. If there's any questions or any clarity, or sounds like we're good. Oh my, thank you so
I
very
just
much.
loved it. I just want to say I honor you, Rosalind. Thank you so much for showing up with hope. This is beautiful. I got lots of notes, and I'm excited to make some plans. Oh, I know what I was gonna say, because after Christmas, everybody's invited. Everybody who wants some snow, come up to Northern Alberta and join me, because I'm gonna be heading up to the Peace Country, and I have this vision for just having people come to join us and set intentions, get together and have a retreat and set intentions for 2024. So Y'all
What
are
a big-
invited. Thank you so much, Rosalind. I'm excited to.
Thank you. What a
Great
big
job,
heart.
Rosalind.
Yeah,
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
Jamlisha.
Thank you.
Tessa. Thank
Thanks for
y'all.
bringing
Thank you.
happiness.
And I want to see you
Thank
dancing every
you.
day. Who?
Yes.
Yeah, you're dancing to your Christmas song a day. Yes.
Yes, that's my goals.
Are you
I'll
sharing
join
that
you in that.
on
No,
Instagram?
I'm not sharing it, but my sweet husband is keeping track. He'll say, how many times have you danced? I dance with my dogs. I have six dogs, and we put the music on and we get to dance, and we rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas. Y'all enjoy it.
So fun. So fun.
I bet you that'll get a lot of it'll go viral if you dance with your dogs on TikTok.
You totally could, girl.
Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you again, Rosalind. Thank you so much for being here and giving in generosity during the holidays. All right. So one of the things that comes up, I think, for me in the holidays is just wanting freedom. Freedom. Just freedom to be, not the doing. I think somebody earlier talked about the doing. And so like freedom means different to a lot of different people. But when it comes to energy medicine, there are a lot of things that you can do to help bring freedom in your space energetically, in your space mentally, and in your space physically. And so these are some of the modalities out there that can bring this for you. Nobody, we know that everyone's unique, everyone's constitution's different. So not just like at one diet, it's not good for everyone. It's the same thing when it comes to this kind of work. It's not a one size fits all. Sometimes you'll resonate with one more than another. And so it's not saying that the efficacy is different. It's just what resonates with you, right? And if it resonates with you, you're more likely to do it. And so I just want to introduce to you like a few of them. So meditation and mindfulness. I feel like mindfulness is really taking a resurgence in the world, and people are being more mindful about being mindful, and that's beautiful. And there are so many different modalities of meditation, and there is a big stigma around it. There are people who just have that monkey mind and say, there's no way I can ever meditate. There's no way, because I don't know how to be not thinking about stuff. And so there's a mindful meditation where it's actually making you mindful of your surroundings and listening, like purposefully, intentionally listening to your surroundings. And that helps you be in the present. Because in the present is where life happens. You're not thinking of the past. You're not thinking of your to-dos or have-tos or shoulds from the future, or even 2 hours from now. You're allowing yourself to just listen to your surroundings, and that brings you instantly to the present. So that's a really great one for those of us who feel that they can't stop the monkey mind. Another suggestion would be to feed that monkey and just tell it to shh for a minute. Another one is energy healing practices. There's Reiki, there's energy medicine, there's Psych K, there's like so many different energy healing practices out there. And I know there'll be one that you can find that resonates with you. And we are energy healers. We are our own energy healers. Your body's innate wisdom is to heal. That's all it wants to do, is heal. The only thing stopping it is us, right? So when we find a hard time and going inwards to really getting curious about what those things are, breath work. I found breath work, when you're doing great breath work, those emotions instantly come up. I noticed that when I was doing breath, going through the Art of It Institute, Sky Breath, every time I would do the breath, I would just feel anxious, but not really anxious, but more frustration and anger. And the same thing was coming up to me when I was learning deep tissue massage. People would work on me and do deep tissue, and I'd be like, don't touch me. And I guess it's because I had just a lot of anger that had been stored in my body. And that anger came from resentment. I'm realizing resentment from things, expectations. Expectation, I like to say expectations of future resentment, especially if you're not neutral about it, right? Because if you expect something, you're going to have a future resentment, because It's just the way it goes. Yoga is another great one. Yoga, it helps you focus and stay in and go into your body. And when you're stretching, it helps to create space for that energy to flow, which is why yoga is so great for people, not just for flexibility, but for overall health and vitality, because it creates space in your body to allow the blocked energies to flow, which is a beautiful thing. And expressive arts therapy is one of my favorites. I'm a creative artist, and I love music. I love dance. I love painting and getting crafty with my hands, and like using your hands to create is so healing. It's so healing. It really can help you process anxiety. It can help you process depression. It can help, because you have it in your head and you're creating it with your hands, and it's just an instant release. It's an instant release. And music and dance is what saved me during COVID. And I actually started a channel where I would do dance workouts. I was like, I want to dance, but I want to get fit. And I don't think I'm fit right now, and I don't look good. I don't feel I look good. But I was putting myself out there because I was like, God, this music can actually save someone's life today. This one video of me just saying, hey, it's okay to feel all this. You get to release it. And so it's just a beautiful, creative, natural, organic way to process heavy emotions. Emotional freedom technique, which is what I just talked about, is another really great modality. Journaling and self-reflection. Automatic writing. There's so many people who do automatic writing where you just put your pen down and don't stop writing. And don't be critical, don't be judgmental, just write your thoughts, write what you're feeling. And what's great about that is that not only are you releasing it, just like the creative arts does, right? You also have now a document of seeing your progress and your growth. And also to reflect back and being like, oh my gosh, I really made that situation a much bigger deal than it really was. So it's great to be able to reflect on, just to see your growth, and also to really hear your story and be like, okay, what is my pattern? And with awareness of your pattern, that's when you can start to really do the work to break it and to create healthy, newer patterns. Aromatherapy. I started using Young Living, and for myself, I always knew about when I went into massage, I heard about aromatherapy and Bach flowers, and I was just fascinated by the fact that, we have Earth, Mother Nature, God, who created this beautiful planet for us that has everything we need for it to heal us. And so I will definitely be talking about essential oils later and how it can really impact your emotional well-being and your mind and your body as well. And then, of course, community support and therapy. So like the really heavy traumas, the PTSD, like the really big, heavy, I would definitely recommend talking. Talk therapy is great. Just talking it out, feeling heard. Feeling heard can just make really us calm ourselves and not feel alone. And so the basic principles of EFT is that first you get to identify the issue. What is that limiting belief? Is it, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, imposter syndrome? There's so many things that can create unrest in our minds. So identifying it, what emotional issues, traumas, or beliefs or negative emotions are causing the distress. And so then you start the tapping sequence. So while you focus on the issue that you identify, you start to use your fingertips to tap specific meridian points. And these include the top of the head, the eyebrow, the side of the eye, under the nose, under the chin, the collarbone, and then under the armpit. Right here, like right at the brow line under your arm. And that is the spleen. The spleen meridians there, the neurovascular. The spleen is like your nurturing meridian. And it's what helps you metabolize thought, food, drink, emotion, ideas, you name it. And so with this, it's one of the ones that I'd like to work on a lot. I like to actually just thump it every day to strengthen my spleen, because I'm noticing that the more I'm doing it, the less and less runny eye I have from my allergies. So I feel like it's boosting my vitality enough so that my allergies are actually getting better, which is amazing. And then you tap. When you're tapping, you say affirmative statements. But like I said, if you're currently in the emotion, just tapping it, because we're already thinking stuff, we're already feeling things in our head. So just tapping while you're crying or having your tantrum will really help to repattern it so that it doesn't have that emotional charge will release itself. And so then you'll be able to really have more some clarity of mind and thought to see the situation on a more level-headed, calm space. And so then what this does, it starts to address the disruption in the energy flow. So there is the stress that's being caused by the disruption in the body's energy system. And so when you tap on these specific points, it is believed to restore the flow of energy. So by reducing the intensity of negative emotions and releasing those emotional blockages. What it does is it calms the amygdala as well, which is our brain's fear center. And it's a perceived threat that is actually not really there. Our triple warmer is our stress response, right? It's our sympathetic response to the world. And the triple warmer is a radiant circuit and also a meridian. And it's the only meridian and radiant circuit that takes energy from anywhere it needs when it's under a perceived attack. And it's great because it's there to help us survive. You want it to come to your rescue when you're in a life or death situation. But unfortunately, it has not evolved to the times that we currently live in. Technology, advancement of technology and cars and all that stuff has not allowed, because it's happened in such a short time, like 50 to 100 years, it has not allowed our energy systems to evolve to allow that the car, when the car cuts you off or the computer has a warning or it shuts down, you have the same response emotionally and energetically to it as if you were being chased by like a saber-toothed tiger. And so what it does is that it actually takes away energy from your organs. And so what happens is that you start to have less vitality in an organ. So people who end up having chronic autoimmune issues are on a high stress cortisol, adrenal fatigue. I mean, there's so many things that happen when you're unbalanced in your energies. And so like diseases, I call it dis-ease, because you're not at ease, your body's not at ease. And so it's really important to pay attention to your body. And so this really helps to release all those emotional blockages. It allows for healing to happen and shift you towards an emotional state of well-being. And so I have two beautiful EFT tapping sessions that I want to do here. And so I want to pull you guys and see. I have one for overwhelm and limiting beliefs, and then one for grief, depression, and financial burden. I'm feeling, where are you guys feeling more here in the holidays? You feel more overwhelmed with your limiting beliefs?
Financial burden is where I'm at.
Financial burden?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. Overwhelm. Well, I'd be happy to actually gift you guys both of these scripts on the chat so you guys can do them.
Financial burden is a limiting belief, so I'm totally enrolled with doing the overwhelm and limiting beliefs. Yeah.
All right, let's do this then. All right, you guys ready? So exciting. This will be like technically my first time doing it live with a group of people. So normally EFT, an EFT practitioner will come and sit down and talk to you and really get underneath what it is so that the script gets created based off of like really what is your talk, your conversation. So this is a generalized script. So if you don't feel a shift or a change, it's just because It doesn't actually resonate with your way of thinking of these situations. All right, so we're going to think of something that causes and creates overwhelm in your life. Bring it to mind now. Because the moment you think of something like that, your energy shifts and it takes away energy. Your energy already, just thinking about it, puts you in a stress response. So now I want you to rate yourself from a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being extremely overwhelmed and 0 having that, I'm good. And so just take a note of what that number is. And so what we're going to do now is that we're going to start tapping on the karate chop, which is the point right on the side of your hand, like if you're going to chop a wood, like Tony Robbins teaches everybody at the UPW. So it doesn't matter which side you do, whatever your dominant one, just trust your intuition. So we're going to tap there and we're going to repeat after me. Even though the holidays bring overwhelming feelings,
Even though the holidays bring overwhelming feelings,
I deeply and completely love and accept myself and how I feel. Even though I feel this pressure to meet expectations, I choose to honor myself and release this overwhelm. Even though I'm holding on to these limiting beliefs about the holidays, I choose to let go and find peace within. And now we're going to start with the eyebrow point. You can do it one hand or you can do two hands. It really doesn't matter. The holidays feel overwhelming.
the holidays feel overwhelming.
Side of the eye. I feel the pressure building up.
I feel the pressure building up.
Under the eye. So much to do, so little time. Under the nose. All these expectations weighing me down. The chin. It's hard to keep up with everything. Collarbone. I feel overwhelmed and stressed. Under the arm. Maybe I've been believing these limiting thoughts. Top of the head. I'm open to letting them go now. Eyebrow point again. This pressure during the holidays. Side of the eye. It's like I can't catch a break. Under the eye. All these tasks just piling up. Under the nose. What if I could release this pressure? The chin. What if I could create space for joy? Collarbone. I choose to release these beliefs. Under the arm. I'm allowing myself to embrace peace. On top of the head. I am free to experience the holidays with ease. Now take a deep breath in and out, in the nose, out the mouth. Now rate yourself again. Did the number go down? Anybody want to share their experience?
I would love to. Yeah, I would be honored to, Margarita. So I just time traveled. I just time traveled to my first Christmas as a mom. And just like sitting in that space of like how chaotic that was. Like I just had a new baby. We weren't making a lot of money. it was super stressful. Our debts had like racked up and we were on the move. And so I just remember like driving all the way north from Edmonton up to Fairview with a newborn baby and like nursing her while I drive. Like I remember the stress and the overwhelm and just all the things I put on myself as a new mom, right? And like it's just like such a gift to be able to go back into that space because I was just at a 10 there with her, right? Like with myself. And this baby is just like drinking in all the overwhelm, right? Um and just going back into that space and like coming down to like a 6, right? Like that's a huge gift because I know that as I just keep on this process, I can just clear that and turn that, like get that to 0 and get that like joy to a 10 and to 100 and exponential. So thank you. Thank you so much for that gift.
Yes, thank you. I acknowledge you and I see you. Thank you for being in your vulnerability. And yes, and thanks for the reminder. Yes, you get to keep tapping and doing more and more of these until you get to a 0. Like you could actually take 15 minutes and be completely done with that thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I did this for worth. I did this even though I don't feel worthy of love, even though I don't feel worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm a burden. Yeah. I tapped on all that, and that's what really helped lift my depression and my actual chronic fatigue. Like I was heavy from so much depression that it felt like chronic fatigue.
Yeah,
and that's what helped me. It was the EFT, like tapping on the being worthy. And on my YouTube channel, I have one on imposter syndrome. I have one on self-doubt. I have this one for overwhelm, and I'll be doing some more. So if you guys are interested, it's at Mama Rita's Essentials on YouTube. And there's a lot of other great energy medicine tips and techniques on how to infuse joy, which we're going to talk about later here today. But yeah, a lot of great ways to take control. Does it feel good to know that you have something now to release that, Trina? Doesn't that empower you? I love it. Thank you for sharing.
It does. And isn't that cool? Like I've been doing EFT and emotional freedom technique and emotion code and healing codes and all the release things like since that time, like early as a mom, right? And it's just sometimes there's so many things that have healed, and then there's like recently in my life, in fact, it's like I've been recreating the situation of back then and looking at it kind of from underneath the covers of like, okay, what was going on then? And so I really appreciate you. I just presence like, because you were with me one day when I was having a stressful mom moment in the past couple months, and there your little share on YouTube pops up, and there you are in my heart, in my home, where I'm like living out the struggle and having like the reminder of I've got a team behind me. I don't have to stay stuck in this for 10 years. I got my team, and Margarita's on my team, and all of you are on my team, and I know I can count on you.
Damn right.
And I know that the message will come to me and I can release it when it's ready, right? And there's a lot of layers to the onion, and so each one there's a new growth opportunity with each layer. So thank you so much. I love you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Oh my gosh. Thank you for tapping along with me today. So here's the time where I get to introduce my other fabulous guest speaker today, Filza Jabin. And I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name. I meant to ask you how to pronounce that. She is a dear friend of mine and fellow thought leader in the world, creating love and abundance and connection. She is a daughter, a wife, and a proud mother of 3 beautiful children. She is a published author, having written the title Teen Leadership Coach and Parenting Coach. She supports parents on how to deal with the challenges of raising children and provide them with the solutions and strategies they need to create a happy, healthy, and harmonious life. Having children inspire her to shift careers from MBA to master's in psychology to understand on a deeper level child behavior and to be the best support for all children around her. In the ongoing journey of discovering her truest potential, she acquired various certifications along with a diploma in child psychology, play therapy, addictive brain, and psychological perspectives of current issues within the education system, plus many, many more. Please help me to welcome my dearest friend, Bilza Devin. Can you please say your last name for me?
Yes, you said that correct. It's Jabin.
Devin.
Jabin. Jabin.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Margarita, for giving me this opportunity. So this is for the love of children, whatever I am doing and promising to do going forward. So just for you all to know, I'm not yet a teen leadership coach. I'm coaching teen leadership program in January 13th and 14th. So I was preparing my bio, so I did that. So the authenticity, I would like to talk about the truth and the authenticity first, and then I will go to move on to holidays and authenticity. Truth is what we say, and we believe that it's not wrong. For me, authenticity is what others deserve to know from me. The real hidden knowledge, which I get to inform, because they deserve to know what all is present with me. Not just the truth with thousands of layers on it, proving me right, somewhere serving my ego from inside that I am correct, I'm not wrong, not doing anything bad, God is not going to punish me, I'm legally correct. The person in front of me deserves to know what's underneath that. So that's authenticity for me. And when we talk about our teens, like I have really seen children suffering during their teenage, and still they are. In India, condition is really bad. Up until September, when I was going through this data, in one state, 25 children suicided to just not be appropriate in their exam. They failed and they decided to quit. They were on their journey to learn, to know, to achieve something. What made them suicide and just quit over there? And the survey is saying that rejection from their parents of acknowledging their mental health issues. It's not their fault. It's not parents' fault. They are unaware of this fact that what children are going through, what they are suffering from. As a parent, I want the best for my children. I want them to have it all, everything, what is possible. I want to give them, like literally stuff them with everything I have. There's a line which came, setting expectations for our children. There we set expectations for our from our children, where they start expecting from us. When we pour more, they receive, and they forget to acknowledge from where it is coming. What's the source of it? It's our responsibility to guide them in acknowledging their resources from where they are coming and how they can have those resources even if they're not around their parents. They're alone in this world. So when I talk about authenticity in teen, they are not accepting themselves. It's not because of them. They're seeing us. They're closely looking into us. My children are looking at me, not accepting my real self, really chasing something settled by society, settled by the world, which is making me feel inappropriate, which is making me feel run little more. So we are born with some resources. With that resources, we get to fill up the other resources to make our life easy. I was born with a lot of resources. My parents, my good health, my parents' financial status, those were my resources, planned resources given by my creator. I got a chance to fill up my other resource box to make my life easy. Like all my degrees, my walking skill, my talking skill, my friends, and everything else I learned with the help of the first resource box. So I am present in my children's first resource box. I ask myself this question: am I present in my children's second resource box? Are they counting me in? Am I there? Can I go and literally go and sit there? Will they allow me to sit there in their second resource box? Or they're closing door for me? Who do I get to be to let them open that door with their heart for me? And holiday is the best time to bring that up, make that relationship with your teens, because they are smart, they're opening up, they are getting all those new hormones, all those new thoughts and ideas, which is amazing, and taking them already to a roller coaster ride. And trust me, they want to take you. They want to take you together. They want to have fun with you. They don't want your stressed self. They want you in your joy. They want you in your best self. They want you to smile. So who do I get to be to get chosen by my children? That's a big question. Wakes me up in the middle of the night, make me work, read more chapter of the book, do one more exercise. But still, will they choose me when they're gone from my home, when they're on their own? Is my sleepless night going to pay me off? Well, I don't know. It's just a satisfaction that I'm doing my best. I don't get to beat myself up for not being perfect mom. It's just that I'm not giving up. I'm trying my best. My 3 different children. One is the analyzer, one is supporter, and one is extremely promoter. So I get to be in energy with him. And my analyzer catches me everywhere. You're right, you're wrong. One day I gave him to read first chapter of my book while I got it edited by my editor, and I asked him, just requested him to, as he's a very good reader, he loves reading, so I asked him to read first chapter of my book so that he can give me feedback. He took that book, he took those pages from my hand and ran into the room and by telling me, I am going to find thousands of mistakes in this. I'm not going to spare you. I'm not going to leave you. You are caught now. I wasn't scared. I was so happy that I accept him the way he wants me to be. He is bringing me in that. After 45 minutes of waiting, he's very fast in reading. After 45 minutes of waiting, I went to his room knocking. Are you complete? Can I get some feedback? Do I need to correct something? You know what he said? These are not your words. This is not you. This is not you. I said, you get to know me more. We get to spend more time. He said, only if you play chess with me, a board game. So these are the challenges, beautiful challenges I'm facing. And one thing which I would like to encourage you, all the parents, for the holidays, tell your failure stories to your children. They are looking forward to some support through that. They're beating themselves up when they are feeling inappropriate at school. with their friends. When people are making them feel, my son often comes and says, I'm not appropriate. Maybe I'm born broken. So I tell him my failure stories and I feel the joy in him. And one day he told me, I also lie to you. I'll try to hide my few lies by few more lies to you. And there he is so comfortable. I give a pat on my back by saying, you get to be creating this for the parents around you. I cannot support any teen out there in teen leadership or any children out there in the world unless they get support from their own parents. They are their best resource. Parents are their best resource. Children get to know that, and I stand for it. So I have a few tips as a supporter. I love to share tips and strategies. I like to support all the parents out there. So I'll be really quick, not taking more time. So children are looking at us, want to assure that we are proud of them. They are looking at us. They don't want to hear anything. They're looking at us. They want to make sure that I am proud of them. Even they pee on the bed, they want me to feel proud of themselves. Not feeling bad. Okay? So they see, they check, just like my analyzer, very closely. They have a special magnifying glass where they can see through the wall and through the closed doors. So I get to be authentic. I get to be in my surrendering mode when I am human and I'm making mistakes with them. When my daughter asked me, do you like your tone of voice? You tell me. If you like that, you can continue with it. And I'm learning from you. And she's just 7 years old. So teenagers are smart. They're opening up for new ideas. They want to explore new things. Hold their hand and ask them to guide you. Trust me, they will take you to the amazing places. My son made me watch Attack on Titans. I would have never watched it alone. That much of episodes. I don't like watching movies, and that he will not allow me to watch it in English. I have to read English by listening to the original voice. I have to read. I cannot listen to it. We had the option of it, but no, not allowed. I surrendered and took the ride with him. What I got, half of the series was explained by him. I couldn't understand, but that was amazing. His energy to take me there all the way through his emotions, understandings, and bringing me in together and really talking there like friends. So I would like to talk about hard boundaries and soft boundaries. Hard boundaries are non-negotiable. Soft boundaries are negotiable. Hard boundaries are something like you get to brush your teeth, no compromise on that. You get to take care of yourself. Like my son needs to have medicine twice a day. Those are hard boundaries. Hard boundaries doesn't mean you have to be harsh on them. Hard boundaries are something which is going to help them in future in taking good decisions. These are the lines which I cannot cross. Children are in their early childhood is ready for conditioning. So they get conditioned for those hard boundaries, and negotiables give them opportunity, give them open space to be human and make mistakes and bounce back with the experience they have got. And then again, a very important tool is routine. Inculcate routine. two mandatory routines for me and 2 mandatory routine for all the family members at my house. My husband has 2 mandatory routines. My children have 2 mandatory routines, just like that. You can choose more according to your family. I would like to keep it short, but I want to keep more space for myself to make more mistakes. Okay, very important one. Less reactions, even with their good energy, not only with their bad energy. Less reactions, like a subtle reaction. Yes, that's a very good question, Trina. When we open a floodgate of emotion with excitement, and sometimes when they don't get it, they feel they're inappropriate, they're not getting the same reactions. They are measuring us. So keeping that balance in us, like, yay, you got a good grade at your school. And every time we cannot put that energy up. When we are opening up that floodgate, children go out and they seek those reactions from others. They cannot differentiate between their mother and their teacher. Okay, so we get to be balancing with us. Okay, boundaries are for us. If we have lots of emotions, lots of wisdom, lots of knowledge, lots of money, lots of materials, we cannot pour it on to our children. That's the floodgate which parents open. And trust me, I want to give them all. Are they going to support them? No, they are not going to support them. They're going to make them dependent. And when they are dependent, it will drag them towards depression. So don't tell them it's okay. Never tell them it's okay. Make them feel it's okay by giving them that subtle reaction. Just make your presence, make your appearance feel that it's okay for them to do mistake, to not do the work. Wait for them to seek support rather jumping in and controlling it. Wait for them to come up to you and explain, because that gives a stimulus in the brain. What's the need of the moment? Whom do they need to go? Do they need to go to his father? Do they need to go to his mother, or to his teacher, or to friend, or to Google? I see most of the time they figure it out in themselves. They're smart. They're smart. So give them command of your important situations, like your date. Let them decide your dress. Let them decide your dinner. Let them decide your jewelry. Let them decide your lipstick color. They're amazing stylist. My daughter likes combing my hair. And this is going to support them a lot. Let them build their own community. This was my fear area. I never wanted my children to build their own community. I was scared whether they will get bad habits or they will get caught in a bad group. But I believe this is very important for them to differentiate between right and wrong, which one to take in and which one to just reject. To being there, not literally rejecting any person, being there and rejecting those bad habits or whatever is coming up, allow them to build their own community. And I can go on and on and on. It's an ongoing process. I encourage all the parents to support their teen because they need us. They deserve us. Take care of yourself. I would love to share a self-compassion form from my book, workbook, which I'll be using for my clients, so that you all can feel nourished by using it, like literally choosing 5 things for ourselves. Okay, those self-compassion.
Sorry.
Yes, I will share that in the chat. I want all of you to just promise 5 things for yourself before promising anything for your children. Okay, or before promising anything for anyone. How to share in the chat? Let me just figure this out quickly.
All right. So thank you, Philza, so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And speaking on authenticity, and I loved the 2 things that really stood out for me, and what you said were like, are you their go-to? Are you like, have you done enough for you to be their first resource outreach? You know, it's almost kind of when you think about what your eulogy, what is going to be like, you know, like, how do you want to set yourself up for the future? And that's a great way to think about it. Like, am I showing up in my ways of being to be that for my child? And then the other thing, that I think I wrote it here, and asking them instead of offering support, like and they're waiting for them to come to you to ask for that, instead of offering your opinion, because we always want to fix things for them. So sometimes they just see it as, you're not listening. I don't need you to fix it. Sometimes people just need to be heard. So thank you for that. Thank you. And
thank you, Margarita, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, everyone, for listening to me.
Great job.
Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you, everyone.
So that was great.
Yes, thank you. So this brings me now to our next segment, and here's a beautiful card I made for my friend Philza, the authentic teenager. So now we're going to talk about energy medicine for mind, body, and soul. And I study under Donna Eden. She created the Eden method. She was actually born with the ability to see energy, and she thought everybody could, which was amazing. Like in her childhood, she's like, don't those people see what they just did by laughing at that boy? His aura just compacted into him. Like, it's interesting how quickly like our aura comes in to protect us when we get bullied or anything like that. And so there are different energy medicine for different types of things. So I'm just going to go through them and tap along, or do the energy work with me. So the first one we're going to tackle is how to calm anxiety. So when you're feeling anxiety, you always want to shake your hands, because your hands are electromagnetic. This will charge them. This will charge them up. You shake off the excess energy, and then your vagus nerve is here. And the vagus nerve is great for calming your full body. It's the largest nerve that goes throughout your whole body. So we're just going to give it a nice little hug. Anytime, this is one of the easiest places to access the vagus nerve. So you're just going to sit here and just take 3 deep breaths in the nose. And in energy medicine, we breathe out the mouth, because that's how you release stagnant old energy. All right, so we're going to leave one hand back there. Now you're going to put your middle finger on the occiput, which is the center part of the skull where it meets the base of your neck, the base of your skull and the neck. So it's like, I don't know if you can see, it's like right in the base here. And then your other hand, you're going to put the palm on your forehead. You're going to rest the fingers just on the top of your head. And there's a lot of neurovascular here, which helps to bring blood back up to your forebrain. And it just creates calm, and you hold it here for as long as you need. Sometimes it's like 2 to 3 minutes even, where it just starts to really calm the anxiety. And then when you're having anxiety that feels like an anxiety attack, like we're just like almost fearful, like you're like, oh my God, this is a great one. I call this the fear tap. And so like you just put your hand on your hard chest and you just tap here. And there's the triple warmer meridian starts here, your middle finger. And this is your heart meridian. So you tap right in the center here. And tapping, it's the only thing the triple warmer doesn't fight against, is the tapping, because it's like the heartbeat. So it doesn't see it as a threat. And so it starts to kind of calm itself down when you start to tap it. It sends a signal that it's safe, which is important. And so the other one for anxiety also is bringing down the flame. So with anxiety, we feel here, we feel flighty, our energy goes up, we're not grounded. So you want to ground that energy back down. It's kind of like a fire energy that comes in. And so I think I need to stand up for this one. So you start and you just kind of put your hands and you gather energy, and then you bring it into a cathedral on the top of your head. And every time you do this, you're just taking a deep breath in and then out. You breathe in, and then you put it on your third eye. Breathe in, gather energy, put it in your heart center. And you're gonna breathe in again, breathe out. Now you're just gonna put it like this on your pelvic. So the fingers are gonna rest on the top of your pubic bone, and the thumbs will be right around or below your navel. And when you do that, it literally starts to bring that energy down, and it helps to calm that anxiety. So there's one for stress. And this one helps to release the stress cortisol that's in your body. So like all that stress stuff that gets created when you're stressing out in your body, it helps to release it. And this one's called the triple warmer spleen hug, because triple warmer takes from spleen first, usually. So we want to have spleen and triple warmer talk and communicate with one another and to let it know it's okay, it's safe. And this actually feels good. And this is what I love this one, because you can do it all the time, anytime, whenever you're sitting down or even talking to people. Instead of crossing your hands like you normally would, you put one hand on the spleen, which is like under the armpit, right at the brow line. And the other hand, it's like I said, the triple warmer comes here. And it goes up, back, up the neck and around your ear. And then it ends on the here, right? That's why a lot of times you get headaches because you're stressing out so much. And your temples are tender. If your temples are tender, that means you spend a lot of time stressing out, my friends. So one hand here, it doesn't matter which one, because you're going to switch. Then you put the other one on the top of the elbow. And you just sit there. Take deep breaths. So this is good just to get your triple warmer to evolve as well. This is a great one to do. Just sit there and increase your vitality, because it'll start to bring healing to spleen. So the other one is the triple warmer smoothie, which is, I just love the name of it. And this one really starts to help to calm the response that you have. So it starts to really help also evolve the triple warmer so that it's not stressing out about the small things. So again, shaking the hands, and you just put them over your eyes. We're just gonna do one round so you can see how it goes. Breathe in and out. Breathe in one more time. And as you breathe out, you move your hands out to your temples. You can move your hands out into your temples as you breathe out. Take another deep breath in. And when you breathe out, go up and around your ears, down your neck, and rest on your shoulders. And then just squeeze the shoulders. Take another deep breath in here. And when you release your breath, bring your hands down to your heart center. Take another deep breath in and out here. And that's one cycle. You guys can do these as many times as you feel you're still finding out that your stress is there. And there's one for stress and heartache. And this one's great. It's called the Sea of Tranquility. And right in the thymus area, right between your chest, is your thymus. And if you just put your hands in here like this and rest them, because your energies come out of your fingers, it helps to bring energy into your Sea of Tranquility, calming you down, helping your heartache. And you just sit there as long as you need it. One for depression, I like to call the 2 chakra holds. So you're going to put one of your hands in the sacral chakra, which is just under your navel, your sacral chakra, which is your womb, and the other one in your heart chakra. And just holding them there. And this is something that I love to do when I'm going to sleep. Just holding these 2 chakras together. Sometimes I'll hold my root chakra together, but when you hold 2 chakras together, it really just kind of helps to have the energies flow where they need to flow. And it helps to balance that. Grief. grief and loss. Grief, the energy of grief tends to stay in your lungs, which is why a lot of times people who have severe grief and aren't able to process and release it eventually have like lung cancer, which is interesting. So one way to release that strong energy that gets trapped in there is to literally rake your lungs. So you're just gonna you lose a job, you're grieving a loved one, whatever it is. Broke up with a boyfriend. So that will help you to release that heavy emotion of grief. Trauma and overwhelm. This one is called the penetrating flow. And that's where your deepest emotions are rooted. So this really helps to kind of tap into the deeper, for more profound, heavy energy. So for trauma, this is a great one to do. So again, obviously rubbing your hands, you don't, and then you just kind of cup your hands. A lot of the times when you feel overwhelmed, you just kind of like, oh my gosh, you sit there. Sometimes when you're stressed out, you put your hand up here, and those are all instinctual ways that we know innately how to help our energies over time. And so then when you're here, now you're going to put your middle finger in between your eyes, right in the center. And I'm just going to go up your forehead to the hairline. You have a liver meridian here. And then you're just going to rake your forehead. And you end on your temples. Then you just come down into your heart chakra. Great. And joy is actually a radiant circuit. It's the innate in us. It's actually an energy. It's not a way of being. Joy is actually an energy. And so one way to tap your inner radiance is to do what is called the radiant hearts. And you can actually do these on any. My son loves me to do radiant hearts on him. He's always like, Mommy, can you do some hearts? It's really cute. And it literally is what it is. It's hearts. You're drawing hearts on your body. So what you want to do is start in the pubic bone and just go up and then make a heart. And you come back down to the same spot. You go up, you come down, and you do that 3 times. And you can stop there, or you can just give yourself hearts on your face if you want. And then you can do hearts for your whole body. And then just imagine it going down to the floor and come up and go on the floor. You can do little ones on your head if you want. You can do little ones here. There's so many radiant hearts, and this really helps to bring up the joy and happiness innately in you. Another really great one is to tap in the joy. Think of something that brings you joy, or maybe you're watching a beautiful sunset and you're in awe, or you're hearing and listening to children play and it brings you so much joy. Tap it in. When you tap it in, it brings that, it tells your body, hey, we like this feeling. So it starts to program it and remind it that, hey, this is our innate birthright to feel joy. So anytime you're feeling joyful or watching a sunset, or you're laughing, or you're having a great time at a party with friends, or whatever it is, and you find yourself just in a really great mood, remind yourself, oh, I get to tap it in. I get to tap it in. And so there you'll have more joy and radiance throughout your day the more you do this. It starts to compound itself anytime you do energy work. And one that I love to do is the Wayne Cook posture for authenticity. So this one really unscrambles your energies. So it's the only one I know that really unscrambles your energies. And if I had $1 for all the people that I feel are very scrambled in their energies, I would be a rich woman right now. So this helps to have clarity of thought, find your words, stay in your truth. So if you find in yourself losing your thoughts, getting activated or triggered in an argument or whatever it is, this is a great one to like walk away, do this one, and then come back. And you'll be able to just really sit in your authenticity in a calm space that you can articulate your thoughts. It's called the Wayne Cook posture. And because I'm not in a place where I can show you the sitting version, I'm going to show you the stand-up version. I hope that I can do it. And again, this one is on my YouTube channel. I'll be happy to put these links on the feed once it goes live in the recording. So the first thing you're going to do is cross one foot in front of the other. Doesn't matter which one, because you're going to cross them again. And you put your hands like this, cross them, then you bring them into your chest. And then what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in as you pull yourself up towards the sky. And then you release and let go. And you're going to do 3 of those. And then you're just going to uncross, so move the other foot forward. And then this other hand goes this way. And then you just breathe in and out 3 times. And you do that. And what's beautiful about this, the guy who discovered it, Wayne Cook, he realized that this really supported people who had dyslexia and stuttering issues. Like it really stopped it because their energies are scrambled that they can't think of a thought. And their energies are scrambled, so their words get scrambled. Does that make sense now? Like it's an energy thing. It's not a problem with them. It's just their energies are scrambled. If people who have dyslexia and stuttering does the Wayne Cook posture 2 to 3 times a day, I swear I would love to hear how quickly they heal themselves from that. You know, I saw Tony Robbins do a stuttering thing where it was a limiting belief this person had, and it cured his stuttering in a moment. Okay, great. The other one is the immunity boost, because during the holidays is usually the flu season. Now that we have COVID, this is one that I just wanted to throw in there as a bonus for you guys. And that was the thymus thump. So the thymus, again, is in the center of your chest, and it's responsible for generating, creating T cells, which is your immunity block, right? And so when you thump it, it encourages it to work. And so it starts to improve and boost your immunity and vitality. So anytime I start to feel sick, I start immediately thumping here, thumping here, thumping here, and I either don't get sick or I barely get sick. And another one to do is to if you're getting sick, it usually starts in your throat because of your lymph nodes, is to do like a lymph drainage very gently. And that's just, I didn't even think about doing this one for you guys, but here it is. All right, and another really quick one is grounding. When we're not grounded, we can be scattered and everywhere. And in the holidays, being grounded is super key, especially when you're shopping and everything's everywhere and you're feeling claustrophobic. Grounding yourself is great, and it's so easy. You just tap here. The easiest and most effective is to be barefoot in nature or hugging a tree. Like, let's just get real. That's like the fastest, effective way, like foolproof. But if you're not anywhere near that doing this, there's a stomach meridian here, and it brings and pulses the energies down. So yes, anybody want to share it quickly? Their experience on doing this? Was there one that really resonated with you? Did you feel any energy shift when you did it?
Yes, it
Yes,
was giving a kind of blood flow. I'm sorry, Patrick. So it was giving a rush of blood flow. I mean, I can feel it. The tapping exercise is really good. We can use it for releasing our stress.
Right.
Thank you, Margarita, for sharing this.
yes, it was the one, I'm not sure what you called it, but the one where we raked across our head, whatever that was. Overwhelm. That makes the most sense. Yeah, because I'm always like trying to analyze stuff and think through stuff and stuff. So I'm like, dude, just get out of there. So that's a great one. Just
Yeah.
kind of,
That was actually the trauma and overwhelm one. And I know you had a lot of trauma because of your accidents. So that makes sense that it would be the one that you resonate with the most. Any other one for a quick share? Anyone else? One more before we go to the next beautiful speaker I have. All right. All right. So now that brings me to our next and beautiful guest speaker today. And I want to share the screen because I took the time to make these slides and I keep forgetting to show them. And she is, let me read her bio here. Vanessa Triffin is a passionate, joyful, and creative woman. She is a multi-business owner, a creative, and musician. Vanessa has experienced owning her authenticity by embracing her gift and passion for music and love. So please help me introduce my dear friend, Vanessa Triffin, today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here, to share myself, to share my journey with music and healing. I'm honestly super curious how I even came to mind with music, because we all know, people know us based off of different areas in our life and different timelines. Some people might know me as somebody who owned the bridal boutique. Margarita, you knew me as somebody who's healed through music. So that's very fascinating. And I'm super excited to be here and share myself and my journey through music, and hopefully inspire you to connect with your creative outlet. And if it is music, awesome. To share a bit about what music means to me and the importance of it in my life. I'm just going to give you a quick little story on that. I started it in 5th grade. I decided to join band, and I wanted to negotiate with the band director that I should be allowed to play piano. And he's like, honey, no, this is a symphonic band. You pick an orchestral instrument where you get to play in a band. Like, a piano is a solo instrument. You can't do that. So I practiced my enrolling skills. And I remember the day my mom took me to buy my flute, and I sat outside in the kitchen listening to my mom and my grandma having a conversation of how a family of 6 that lives in a 2-bedroom apartment can afford to spend $800 on a flute for a 5th grader who might enjoy it, who might just give it an hour or a week or a month of her attention and move on. And that honestly meant so much to me that my mom took a huge risk to spend $800 on a family of 6, 2-bedroom apartment, to give me that creative joy and that outlet. And something that, and I looking around the room, I know that we have a lot of HCL faces here, so you'll understand this. When the word feed the nerd came up, I got so triggered by that, because, and I want to bring this up, when you think of somebody in band, you think a band nerd, and just to yourself, think about like what that person looks like, what a band nerd is, what feelings come up when you think of a band nerd. And experiencing going through as a musical student for me was interesting, because I got classified as the band nerd. But then within band, people were like, you're not the band nerd. Why are you here? And it was quite interesting finding that place of where I belong, identifying what the band nerd stigma is, and then even then not fitting in with the band nerds, because they're like, we don't understand why you're here, yet you're very talented. Okay. So something for me that I got to really break through were those stigmas and stories around music, around being a band nerd, around what it looks like to feel your authenticity through music. And now that we're talking about the holidays, I especially love that, because you have like those maybe 2 groups of people, those that decorate for Christmas too early and start listening to Christmas music in November, and you're like, oh my God, why? And then you have those that are literally like, oh my God, why? It's not Christmas time. Why are we listening to Santa songs and making snow angels in the snow and all that stuff? So really, one thing I want to land is paying attention to what stories we have enrolled ourselves around music. Certain songs you can enjoy because of what stories mom didn't like that song. Oh my God, that's the devil's music. Oh my God, I can't believe that. I don't even know what this is. Or even songs in other languages, because we don't understand them. To us, it can be just a source of energy when you connect to something. So I want to share something with you all as well. In last year around this time, I closed my retail store. So I owned a retail boutique, and something that we've been talking about today a lot that I love, Margarita, that you're bringing up to people's minds is grief. And grief can be not just the passing of a loved one or a friend. Grief can be the end of a journey in our life. To me, I was incredibly surprised by the amount of grief I experienced when I closed my store, because I loved it. It just didn't align with my version and values of success anymore. So one thing that really helped me realize I was still alive and myself was music. In 2021, I set the goal to learn how to actually play the piano. I took a class in high school and then did nothing with it again. And I got very lucky and fortunate that an old boyfriend like bought me a really cool wall piano. It was much older than even my mom, but it was beautiful. And it was an opportunity for me to connect to music. And for me, music is the way that I express my passion. It is how I release and feel joy. It is so much fun for me to sit down at my piano and play. It is so much fun for me to blast the music in my car. And like, I see people at red lights look at me and they're like, yeah, like she's jamming. I don't even care if people think I'm crazy. I don't care if they have ideas of like the kind of music that I'm listening to. I've allowed myself in my authenticity to experience all of the emotions that come up with whatever kind of music I'm listening to. So Phil, so something that you said about how intelligent our children and our teenagers are. I worked with a lot of teenagers in my boutique. They would come to work with me after high school or very early college. And I constantly found myself being so inspired by them. And sometimes it's the inspiration of what it is that they're doing. And you're like, wow, I get to do that too. Or it just sparks an idea. So something for me, and it's perfect that this is happening in December. I'd love to encourage you all to do this. I created monthly playlists. So in January, I started this in January, and these were songs that friends sent me. These were songs that January, I was so deep in my depression. So when I listened to the songs I was listening to in January, I am immediately brought back to those same feelings of grief, of intensity, of sadness, of looking for the light anywhere that I can find it. And it's really a testament to how much I connect to music when I sometimes, like I was at the Zone event and I downloaded all my monthly playlists and I randomly clicked on April and I listened to the songs that I was listening to, and I so quickly was brought back to the journey I was on in that month, listening to my feelings or connecting to, oh my God, I remember listening to this at this restaurant and I was with my sister and we joked and we did this. And it's a really great way to connect with myself. And I want to talk about music as a form of creativity. So you might be a musician, you might not. You might love painting, you might not. You might love making jewelry. And music to me is my way of expressing my creativity. It might look different to you. So while I talk about music, I also want you to presence what your creative outlet is and think of ways that you can implement or take what I'm talking about in music and do something with yourself. Maybe instead of a monthly playlist, you get to create a challenge for yourself of drawing something new every day or creating a new type of jewelry every day. And especially being unattached to what it's going to look like. Sometimes I sit down, I've established that I get to have 2 different ways to play the piano. Sometimes I practice, and that means I get to sit down, I get to focus, I get to learn the music. I might play the same 3 measures for an hour until they sound great. And sometimes I just get to play. And that, think of your inner child of just playing, like unleashing somebody into a park. They're going to swing for 5 minutes. They're going to run down the slide. They're going to jump and play tag and just playing. So exactly, unleashing your inner child, Margarita, that's beautiful. I know for me, I have certain songs that I connect with. My grandma passed in May, and there's a song that I sat down and I learned in 2 days. Like my goal was to go to the hospital and play it so she could hear it, and she passed away that day. So I know that sometimes when I want to feel connected and I know that there's a heaviness in my heart and it's grief and it's loss and it's sadness, I allow myself the opportunity to sit down. And if it comes out slowly and I sob, it comes out slowly and I sob. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have pets, we're familiar with the word zoomies. My dog gets the zoomies. She runs around and releases all this energy. And I notice I have musical, emotional piano zoomies sometimes. Sometimes I just sit down and it's like, oh my God, you think I'm going through the most intense things in my life, but I am finding ways to release that emotion, to let it sound like whatever the heck it sounds like. Sometimes I'll play a song that's very classical and slow, and it's intense. and you're like, okay, Vanessa's going through something. And that's perfectly fine. I think oftentimes we, especially as creatives, we're used to the judgment. You were too pitchy, you were too sharp, your lines were too soft, or I'm not too familiar with the art world of what type of critiques you can have, but we know that we have them everywhere. And I don't know about you, but I am my own worst critic. And sometimes if I'm playing a song and I made a mistake, I'd slam my hands on the keys and I'm like, oh, I have to start over. Now I just laugh. Now I'm just like, watch me be a master shifter and continue playing my song, even with the mistake, embracing the mistake, knowing that it's like a point that brings my awareness back to the music, because I can so quickly lose myself as I'm playing. So fighting the nerd of not being good enough. Good enough by whose standards? Good enough by my standards? Good enough by the dog sitting on my couch standards? Good enough by the people who know nothing about my craft? Good enough by the people who know about my craft? Oftentimes we let our own interpretations of what good enough looks like and feels prevent us from even starting, prevent us from sharing our gift, prevent us from enjoying ourselves. So it may not be a creative outlet for you. It may not be playing music, like physically creating the sound. It might just be allowing yourself to enjoy the kind of music that you do enjoy. And I'll ask some questions for you. Like, think of times when you feel sad. Can you think of a song that really expresses your sadness? Have you ever experienced like hearing an artist singing about love and you're like, holy cow, how did they jump into my mind and into my heart and release those lyrics for me to hear? And I wonder, do you think they were too preoccupied by what other people might think that it stops them from creating or from expressing their joy? Criticism and judgment is everywhere. And we as leaders and as creatives get to just get comfortable with that and know that it's just part of the process, and not let it come in between us and enjoying our craft. Not let it come in between us and saying, hey, I know it's Christmas music and everyone's going to cringe. Just letting yourself enjoy that, right? Another thing that I do want to talk about, especially about the holidays, is using music or your own creative outlet as an opportunity for gifts. So last year, I decided in January that instead of buying my mom a Mother's Day gift, I would play her a song. So one of the songs that I really resonate with my mom is Chiquitita by ABBA. So it's a song that they sing in both English and in Spanish, and I'm fluent in Spanish. My mom speaks Spanish. I have very fond memories as a child listening to that song. And it's very piano heavy. And I like to imagine that's where my love of piano came from, because my mom and I would listen to it over and over again. I have memories of me jumping off the couch and into her arms. I have memories of dancing around the living room, which is quite interesting because my mom doesn't dance often. But this song in particular brought so many memories of being with my mom. So I thought to myself, how can I, without giving something, show her that I care? And it took me hours and hours and hours and hours and months to learn this song. And I'm terrible at surprises. So halfway through, she was having a really bad day and I was on the phone and I was like, do you want to know what I'm giving you for Mother's Day? And it was a bonding moment. But I can tell you the amount of emotion that we all felt in the room the day she sat down on Mother's Day, and the day I said, hey, with shaking hands and like holding, and all the emotion, because I knew it meant so much. I got to play my song for her. And my aunt and my uncle were there. And now it's a gift that keeps on giving, because she has an old out-of-tune piano in her home. And anytime I come over and they start playing, she immediately runs into the room and she's like, you're playing a song. And that to me is a beautiful way of connecting with her. It wasn't just a sweater. It wasn't just a picture frame, although there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It was just allowing myself to embrace my unique authenticity, my talents, my joy, and my passion, and create something for her. And going back to the theme of music, my husband and I have been together for 11 years this month. And I have, it's amazing. I have a CD where he like wrote my name wrong and like wrote out all the songs that it was just a gift. Here's a physical CD of songs that make me think about you, a physical CD of songs that I was listening to when we met, of the song we listened to on our first date. And those are very small, but yet creative and authentic ways that we can show our love and our appreciation. Hey, I took some time to think about you, to connect with the music that makes me think of you, the songs of love that inspire me, and here's a gift to you. And it can be anything. Last year, as I was experiencing my depression and my burnout, I got to crafting again. So I started painting watercolor bookmarks, and I think there were 5 people in my life that got handmade watercolor bookmarks for Christmas, because I know that they're avid readers, and I just wanted to express creativity. I wanted to carve out some time for me in December to connect with my creative mind, to allow myself to express myself without it needing to be perfect. And I can tell you that those people in my life were so thankful. I mean, I could have given them a book, I could have given them something, but I said, hey, I took time out of my day to create something for you, because I thought about you through every little brush mark. I thought about you through every measure that I worked through. And it's loving. And I can tell you, when I walk into their home and I see the bookmark poking out of their book, I'm like, it brings me joy that I'm able to bring them joy. So along those notes of expressing your creativity, allowing yourself to have fun. Another example, also for Mother's Day, like I was a kid, I didn't have money. So I enrolled my cousins into choreographing a dance to a Backstreet Boys song. And I can tell you now, it was a lot of fun. We didn't have money to buy our mom's Mother's Day presents. And I said, come over to my house. I created really silly choreography, and we were 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we sat our moms down and we danced for them to a Backstreet Boys song. Our moms didn't speak English. They probably had no idea what this song was about, but we knew. And they could tell through our expression, through our joy, that we were doing it out of love. So this is just another really prime example of like you get to tap into your authenticity and your joy and inspire others in the process. So I just have questions for you now. How do you get to tap into your own unique creativity, and without judgment and fear of shame and getting it right, how do you get to express that to the people in your life? How do you get to give a gift of you, of something that came from your mind, of something that you like worked with in your hands? And a quote I absolutely love, and I get to end it there, is art is how we decorate space. Music is how we decorate time. And that's amazing. Music is how we decorate time. A song lasts 5 minutes, and this is 5 minutes of overjoy. 5 minutes of, I even have their pens and their drumsticks. And a friend of mine saw these at a bookstore and said, you need these. And it's just the ability to jam out, to let your creativity shine without it having to sound a certain way or look a certain way. So yeah, I ask yourself, how do you get to embrace your own unique creative talent? If you do decide to create playlists for the month, like I'd love to hear what goes on your playlist, to see if you listen to it, to see if there's a song that makes every playlist, or maybe 6 out of the 12, and really reflect on what that means to you, and how you can share that with the world. So thank you so much for listening. You can find me on Facebook if you want to chat. I get to now share more of my music with the world as well. Margarita, thank you for this beautiful opportunity to express myself and my talents and my joy. It has been amazing to do so.
Oh my gosh, it's been an honor to have you. You had some really amazing, I mean, I could sit here and have you take over the rest of the show, girl. You're awesome. Where exactly can people reach you? Can you share?
So you can find me on Facebook. On Instagram I'll drop it in the chat. Facebook is probably the easiest, or I can just give you guys my number and text me. That's probably the best as well.
Say it out loud for the people who are watching the live stream who won't have access to the chat.
Got it. Okay, so my number is 623-986-63.
Wait. This is live streaming in the public.
I see. That's right. You did say that. Okay. So you can find me on Instagram as it's.vanessatrufin, VANESSATRUFIN. Send me a DM if you want to connect. You can find me on Facebook also at Vanessa Trufin. And music is something that I get to start and make a big part of my new business, because I couldn't imagine a way of like, how do I work with brides in the wedding industry and how do I also play music? I'm like, why can't I just do both and make it part of my brand, part of the way that I express my love and creativity? So that's something that's going to be new for the year. And thanks for that, Margarita. I'm going to drop that in the chat right now too.
Both and I love it.
Yes,
And
both
that
and.
is amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely taking the gifting your creative skills. I like to needle felt. I learned how to needle felt through my kids' school. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
make these little cute needle felting for my extended family who we don't buy gifts for anymore because it gets just, it gets expensive. It's crazy. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Again, I'm so honored to have you here. My gosh, so full today, so full in giving generosity with my beautiful friends. So that moves us now to, since we're talking about using creative expressions to allow ourselves to live, like Vanessa said, it helps to evoke my passion. Like I'm so passionate about music that I completely lose myself. And I completely lose myself in the dancing. And one of the things I realized during COVID was how much music was that key principle or key ingredient for me for healing. And that's what got me to creating my new modality, which I want to introduce to you guys for the first time ever, live, ever, anywhere. Because I do believe movement is medicine. So earlier, as when I mentioned earlier about energy medicine and EFT, those are all moving energy. And so the key here is that we're all learning how important it is to keep our energies moving. They're saying now that people who have a sedentary, like couch potato, is the new smoking. Like it's detrimental to your health, like if you were an active smoker, having a sedentary life. So movement is key. Movement is key. However you're doing movement, just do movement. And I wanted to share this YouTube video I found on the internet when I was looking at songs to play while I was doing this. And I just love, her name is Sophie Sofree, or Sofree. I don't know how to pronounce those letters. And it's beautiful. She does like a static dance movement. And so this very first part that I want to, and this is very similar to my dance style. So my dance, it's called Dance Flow Synergy. And it's about having intentionality behind your dancing. So like I use energy medicine, Qigong and yoga positions in my dance, knowing that it's moving energy. So like if I put my arms around and I go like this and I'm dancing, I know that I'm centering my energies. I'm coming down and I'm grounding myself in my energy. If I pull myself out like this, I'm extending and opening my heart chakra. If I'm crossing my legs or doing like the running man, I'm crossing my energies. Like, so I want to bring a real fun, organic way to help women also like get into their feminine divine and express that passion, that unbridled fire that we have, and innate ability to just be in our bodies. A lot of times we're not in our bodies. We're outside our bodies and we wonder why we feel so disconnected. So I want to share here the sound, and just close your eyes and imagine yourself out in nature while she's saying these things. And then how you imagine yourself moving in the process. All right, so I invite you to close your eyes and really just get in.
I'm going to take you on a journey into the wild forests and waters of Bali and invite you to come out of your seat and into a stand. standing tall as a mountain, rooting your feet into the earth, closing your eyes, curling the shoulders back, opening the heart space, and taking deep belly breaths. With each breath, envision that you are filling every single organ with light. Sinking deeper and deeper into the earth. Detaching from the energy, the worries, and the chaos of the day. Calling in your full body presence here and now. And on your next exhale, begin to soften your knees, your shoulders, your jaw. And begin to wake up your fingers, stretching, making circles with your wrists. And gently place the tips of your fingers upon your skin. Gently tracing, noticing the sensations as you connect skin to skin, exploring your entire silhouette, inviting every cell to come alive.
I'm sitting here talking on mute. um, yes, so she just goes on and and her video is beautiful. She's out in nature and she's moving and she's like dancing very somatically and tribally and just allowing the music to move in the way that is authentic and in the moment. Because when you start to pay attention and just really allow the music to be the one that moves you unconsciously, it helps to move and process whatever it is that you're going through in the moment. Which is why I love your question, Vanessa, when you talked about like, we all have a song that we gravitate towards when we're feeling a certain way that helps us process it. And that's the same way when you can go inward and hear and ask, like, what does my body need? And just be free without criticism, without judgment, without being attached to having it look a certain way. We're able to be free. And in that freedom, there's healing. that happens automatically. And that's why I love music and dance and movement. And yesterday, Kia talked about somatic freedom and how being the primal screaming, the howling at the moon, the stomping it out, like just really fully committing to your emotion and not being afraid of it or judging it or worried about how you're going to look, just really fully embodying yourself in whatever it is that you get to explore in that moment. And so I'm excited to start introducing my dance flow synergy, where I get to just give women permission to step into their power, their passion, their sexuality without it being a bad thing. And just allowing them to be free in their body and to love themselves fully and completely. Each scar, each crow's feet, each stretch mark is a story. I look at my body and I'm proud of it because it has a history. It has a history and a story that I get to remember and go, oh my gosh, these stretch marks. I just remember how much I loved being pregnant. I have 2 beautiful children. And oh my God, this scar, I have this scar here that I got. But I was like, oh, but I was at Yosemite at the Bridal Falls and it was spectacular. And I remember that day feeling so full of joy. And so like, these are times to like, look at your body and be like, oh yeah, that scar. And then remember and reflect. And be like, this is cool. I got like a story on my body to share. It's a map of our lives. And oftentimes we don't look at it that way. We don't look at it as a map of our lives. We see it as like, oh, saggy here, jiggly that. And it's like, no, be proud because it's been through history and it has a story to share. So tell it with pride, tell it with honor, and tell it with grace. And so that I want to quickly mention about breath work. Breath work is one of the things that we actually have control over. We have control over our thoughts, we have control over our actions, and we have control over our breath. Breath is directly connected to emotions. When you're excited, how is your breath? Somebody share. How are you breathing when you feel excited?
Quickly, shallow. I think that's it for me.
How about when you're upset, or sad?
I think I feel a tightness, so it makes it harder to get a deep breath.
So like shallow, low, like
shallow, yeah.
Chest breathing instead of like diaphragm breathing. Do you guys know that feeling anxious and nervous is the same energy as excitement? Same exact energy. Your body doesn't know the difference. It's just your mind that's creating the anxiety of it. So yeah, your body is your breath is directly connected to your emotions. And so I used to be a smoker. I feels like somebody else that I'm talking about when I say that out loud. And I realized that the reason why aside from the tobacco being addictive, the reason why I got so dependent on it is because every time I puffed, I was taking in a deep breath. So I would get a cigarette sometimes because I was stressed out. I didn't always smoke that way, but I found myself often going to a cigarette when I get triggered or activated. And I realized that I was like, I'm actually taking a deep breath and calming myself down when I'm doing this. And so when I caught on to that, I was like, oh, I'm just going to pretend I'm smoking and do the deep breath and see if it works. So I started getting curious, like if it worked, and it was working.
That's smart.
Yes. And so I was like, I realized, oh my God, I just need to chill out and take a deep breath. And so I got curious about that. And that's why I went to do the Art of Institute to learn sky breath. And that's just one form of breathing. There's the Wim Hof method. I don't know if you guys heard of the Iceman. He's actually a twin, I just recently found out. And it's amazing. He has found a way to prime his body through breath alone to be able to swim with only tiny pair of trunks up like in the Alaskan waters, like somewhere freezing cold without any hypothermia. He was in it. He has a lot of scientists who've done research on him, and he was in an ice bath, and they were checking to see how his body temperature would go down. And the scientists kept having to add water because his body temperature would stay the same, and it was melting the ice. So they kept having to add ice. I mean, not water. They kept having to add ice to the ice bath because he was like, he got inoculated with some like horrible bacterial virus or something, and it didn't do anything because he primed himself with his breath to allow him to fully take control of his body. Like, imagine that kind of power. Like, you don't have to worry about depression. You don't have to worry about disease or cancer. Like, he has so if you guys want to look him up, Wim Hof, highly recommend his method. He has a lot of really free breath work, mini breath works available online. And his breath is really simple. It's in and out the mouth, and you're breathing in, like expanding your belly out, and then letting it out without your chest going up, right? Because I'm not breathing correctly. If you do that like 30 breaths, and then you hold your breath when you expel, like you hold it for about 1.5 minutes, and then you hold that for another 15-30 seconds. You'll start to feel your body tingling. That's why he recommends either lying down or definitely sitting down, but lying down is the way he likes to do it. And then you just kind of repeat the cycle. So you do 30-40 breaths where you're, and then you just, at that last out breath, you hold it for 1.5 minutes. And the idea is that you want it, the more that you do this, the longer those out breaths you want to hold them for. Eventually you want to go up to 3 to 4 minutes of holding it. And then when you take that recovery breath in, you hold that for another 15-30 seconds or longer if you can. And then you just repeat that 3 or 4 times. And it's similar to Tony Robbins priming. What he does here is what I learned in the Art Institute with Sky Breath. And it's the nose. You just breathe in and out of the nose. And it's not a funny one to do, especially if your nose is not clear to do in public, which is why I chose Wim Hof instead. But yeah, I had intention to do a deep breath work with you guys, but in lieu of time, I wanted to kind of get on to talk to my next guest, who I have on today, a friend of mine, Trina. Trina is somebody I've had the pleasure to connect with on this journey of transformation, and she is quickly someone that has become dear to me. I see her everywhere. She just loves connecting people, and she just loves to be giving generosity, and I'm so honored to have her here today. We're gonna unlock abundance today with her. So I want to have everyone please help me welcome Trina Burgess to the stage today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Margarita. I'm so honored. Yeah, I'm excited to unlock abundance. Actually, you know what? I love, oh, there, I'm back in focus here. Okay, so a couple of things that I love to talk about that I see can be really beneficial for people is learning to tune in to your body and ask questions and get answers. This is a technique that I've learned in the last, I learned muscle testing like 30 years ago, and about like just over 10, like about 11-ish years ago, I came across a guy, Dr. Bradley Nelson with the Emotion Code, who built out a whole map. He figured out, because he had come from computer programming, he's like, you can really ask your body any dichotomous question, like a yes, no, and get an answer, right? Because it's just like, you train your body, show me a yes, show me a no, and then you can get an answer for any question that you can formulate as a yes, no. And so I've practiced that quite a bit over the last number of years. And yes, I am a master connector. I do love connecting people. And so that is just such a great joy in my life. And it's really cool. So the two things kind of relate because at some point I have gotten, and I don't actually remember the timeline on this, but I know definitely in the last year or two, I've gotten really good at being able to hear things in my head. So it's like, if I can break it down into like this or that, I can get direction. So like, for example, if I'm walking, it could be like, should I go left or right? And I'll hear it, I'll listen, I'll hear it left. Okay. So here we go left, right? And God has led me to magical places, right? And sometimes it's like, we'll go straight. And then, like I can get directions in my mind as I listen. And I see that it's kind of built about over the years as I've just, a lot of things that I've incorporated into my life, I guess, that a lot of practices, from being a 16-year-old, like I said, or 15 or 16, I remember being a teenager and going to the local health food store and this lady teaching me muscle testing, right? And she would, people are like, oh yeah, I've done that before. Somebody gets me put out my arm. And are you guys familiar with that? Patrick, John, Margarita, you guys have?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you guys, so let me just ask here, how many of you know how to muscle test for yourself?
I haven't officially practiced it often to distinguish whether or not it's me affecting it or actually the energy work. And there's so many different ones, so I don't know which one actually works best for me, and I haven't tried them. So
right. Okay.
Which ones you do?
Okay. So when you are like making a choice about something, you're how are you tuning in to make that choice? Where do you go? Is it in your head? Is it more in your body?
So if, for instance, if I want to figure out if coffee today is good for me, if it's going to agree with my energy that day, I'll put it in front of my belly button. I take one deep breath in and out, and if my body moves forward, that's a yes. If it moves backward, it's a no. And that's what I've gauged so far. I haven't been able to do this other one that other people do.
But that's the one I use. So the one that you just said is that I use the sway test. And that's what I do, right? So I ask my body, go yes or go no. Okay, John's saying something. I want to hear it. Do you want to, or maybe he's talking to somebody else. You're muted, John. So I don't know if you're talking to us, you'll have to unmute. Okay. And so Patrick, you use muscle testing? Do you use it on a regular basis?
I did before. I tried a few different things. I read both of Bradley Nelson's books, and the thing is with me is because I broke my body so much, everything's so messed up that I kept having like mixed results. I'm like, is it a yes or no? Then I'm like, oh, so yeah. And I've had the biggest one I like to use too is definitely the leaning one. Yes, leaning back and forth, but because both my knees, I've had operations on both of them. I still feel like I'm getting like false results. So I'm like, so it's kind of difficult for me.
Yeah. So that's it. So this is good. Okay. So you two have done this a little bit. I'm just going to step back. I want to come back to these points that you've raised. I'm going to step back and just do a little like demonstration of the sway test. So the simple one that I know, that you guys have both learned. So you guys, maybe you could all, so you just demonstrated it, but, like I said, I learned about muscle testing by someone having me put on my arm, and then she would push on my arm, right? And so she would test for me, but then at some point she's like, well, you can do this for yourself. So I would be in her health food store with all the different vitamins and stuff, right? All the little bottles. And she taught me. So it's like, get grounded. And you ask your body, show me a yes, and let it. So you can get different responses, right? When you're first learning this, some people will go sideways, and then, they haven't figured out how to, they're just learning how to communicate with their body. And so their body's going to be like, well, I don't know what you're asking. And it'll just go whatever. But eventually over time, I've got my body to train. So it's like, show me a yes. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we're on track here because my body is going forward. So it's paying attention to me and to my commands. And so we're in connection here. And so it's show me a yes, go forward. And show me a no. All right, let me just show me a no. Yeah, show me a no when it goes backwards, right? And so I've trained my body to do this, and I've realized too that I'm in command of it, right? Because I think when we're first learning, sometimes we were like, we put the onus on our body to be like, okay, well, body, you take care. But it's like, well, no, we're in command here. So we're connecting our body to our spirit. And we're saying, okay, I'm going to use you as an instrument. Are you in alignment? So then I ask the question, like, are you ready to test truthfully? And if I get a yes, okay, good. So then I can I can trust. And then there are different things, Patrick, like you had said, like sometimes you're not sure, well, what is your body telling you, right? And so that's where you get to ground into alignment with your spirit, with your soul, and get clear and work on practicing the connections, right? Because sometimes it's like, well, I'll hear something in my mind and my mind will say something. So it's like, so my mind says yes, and my body's like, no, right? So the two they're not communicating, or they're not in alignment, or there's something going on. And so then sometimes it takes me, I'm like, okay, well, let's get grounded. Like, for example, I think it was this morning, and it was because I've gotten now, so I test what I eat, right? So same thing with you, Margarita, like where you're putting the coffee, and you're like, okay, body, are you in alignment for this? And there's a period where you can get messed up answers until you get grounded and align. And so that's what I did this morning. I was just like, if my answers are kind of off or weird or not what I want, like not what I want, like that's, but just basically like I'm just sensing that maybe what my body is saying is not really, like there could be another possibility. Does that make sense? So it's like, so then I just, took that moment to ground, get centered, because it's not always going to be automatic. Do you know what I mean? You can be picking up a lot of different energies in your world. And if you want your body to be like an authentic, honest, genuine instrument of your soul, then you get to connect the two. Does this make sense? Okay. So getting grounded, paying attention, listening, and practicing. So yeah, so that's how I do it. Now I've used this. Patrick, where did I just put that? Oh yeah, okay. So you've gotten familiar with Bradley Nelson's emotion code, right? I've used this for years. I've known the emotion code for many years, but a number of years ago, must have been 2018 or 2019, we had gone to an emotion code seminar, and he gave us these little magnets with the emotion code chart on it. And it's actually super simple. So I am a certified practitioner of the emotion code. I did that back when my youngest was a baby, and it was a great gift, I feel, because it's really a blessed thing. This has been such a blessing for me to be able to tap in to my children. So during this very traumatic time, like from the time, I guess, that I learned this skill when my bought like 11 years ago, I was experiencing a lot of traumatic mental health, showing as a mom, postpartum, a lot of problems. And then that led into further problems that ended up in the separation and eventual divorce of me and my kid's dad. And so during this and lots of moving from place to place. And so during this, I can remember my kids, when I would go to tuck them in at night, they'd be like, Mom, can you release our trapped emotions? So they're like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, like kind of during those years. I have this clear memory of them just asking. They didn't have the language to be able to say, this is what I'm feeling. This is, oh, like, I've got this feeling in my body. I don't know what to do with it, right? They just asked me, mom, mom, mom. And it would be, I would come up with something, and they'd be, it would have been something related to what had happened at school that day, or I'd be able to be wise and articulate, oh, this is what's going on for you. And so this little, this little magnet, this little simple little emotion code chart, to me, it's been a game changer. It's been a game changer that has pulled me through that, all the trauma and chaos that has been created out of mental health, which itself was born out of, intergenerational trauma. Just having this little tool in my toolbox, right? Being able to pull that out when I can feel something's going on, and either I'm just maybe not sure exactly what it is, or I know what it is, but maybe I'm not allowing myself to really be honest about what it actually is. Pulling this little chart out, and I can do it on my phone too, right? Because it's all over the internet. Anytime you just like Google emotion code chart, you can find a multitude of them. This has been a real game changer, and it's actually really simple. So I'll just go through this if you're open to this. What's our timeline here, Margarita? How much time have we got?
You got a few minutes, and then I also have it pulled up here if you want me to share the screen. I have the actual code chart that you have in your hands here.
Yeah, go ahead. Now, I'd be happy to demonstrate this. Patrick, are you open to me testing for you to see if you have a trapped emotion?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is the way that this works. So with your permission, I can tap into your energy system and connect with you. So we just do a simple little thing here, and we'll just ask. I'll just say testing for Patrick Hoffman. Yes. Show me a yes for Patrick Hoffman. Show me a no. Okay. So, and are we ready to test truthfully? Yes. Okay. So we're ready to test truthfully for you. So now it's really simple. The way that we just break this down into a yes, no. We've got two columns. So we're going to say, is it in column does Patrick Hoffman have a trapped emotion to release right now? Yes. Is it in column A? No. Is it in column B? Yes. Okay, so I just got a yes for column B. So now I'm going to break it into half and half, right? So just to make it faster. So is it in an odd row? Is it in an even row? Okay, so now we figured out it's not an odd, but it is an even. And then I'll just go through the even numbers, asking yes, no. So see how I've done this? Like it's just, are you taking off, John? Is that what he's saying? Oh yeah. Pleasure to
Yeah, I
have
have
you.
an HCL 48 has their first coaches meeting, and this is the first one. It's in like 20 minutes. So,
and it's in 20 minutes? Okay, I'm
yeah,
supposed
it's
to
at
be
3 o'clock. So,
okay, I will be there. I'll finish up quick. Thank you so much for letting me know about that.
Or if you can't, I can put a message in there for you that you're just let me know.
Can you send me the link on Voxer? Can you send me the link to
Yeah, it's in there. If you go on the coaches page, it's on there. It's hardcoreleadership.com/HCL48 staff. It's on the page. Like the link's on the page. So
exciting. I love that.
thanks for the great information. This was amazing. Oh, sorry, I can't stay longer.
It's so good. Well, we'll do this again. Yeah.
Right.
We'll see you soon in the meeting. God bless. So good to have you, John. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to find out if it's in row 2. No. Is Patrick's trapped emotion in row 4? Yes. Okay. And then there's 5 in here. So we're just going to ask yes, no. Is it the depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, taken for granted? Okay. So now that we've got it's taken for granted, does that make sense to you, Patrick, or do you want to know? Do we need to know more? I'm getting do we need to know? Do you know what the feeling of taken for granted would be about? Like, you don't have to tell me, but would that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that resonates. Okay. So then yeah, so then what I do, I always like, the way that I do this, I always want to bring connection to source. For me, I use the language of a Christian, right? Because that's the heritage, that's the choice that I have shown up in the world. But really the language goes across any sort of religious denomination. But I always want to like bring in source here to presence of fact that we are feeling taken for granted, and just kind of like pray over this and release it. So if you're open to that, now we're just gonna the way that Dr. Nelson teaches is to release is the governing meridian. Margarita, you showed us a multitude of other magical ways that we can release energy. And I love and honor those. Now, at this point in my healing journey, I'm kind of like you. It's like, where you're talking about the dance and just letting your body move wherever. I've learned a lot of different releasing methods. I love to do over the governing meridian with a magnet, because my body has been trained for the last 11 years that when I do this, it's like, it's giving my body permission to let it go. And other people's bodies will have other supportive habits and techniques that will really resonate for them. And if you listen to your intuition, you'll have a desire to move in a way that will release that energy, right? However that is. So maybe for you, Patrick, you had said that like the overwhelm in your mind is that movement is really supportive for you to help move the overwhelm. And I could see that being feeling like you're taken for granted could be definitely connected to overwhelm, right? Because you feel like you're giving in a way maybe, and then not like just getting overloaded with other people's stuff. Does that resonate at all?
100%.
Okay, good. So I would always do this. Like for me, I would always ask, like, in the name of Jesus Christ, I would always ask, dear Heavenly Father, can you just please help us release this feeling of being taken for granted? Specifically, Patrick Hoffman is just, he's resonating with this feeling in his body. And I just pray, Father, that you will just pour love into this space for Patrick, that help him to adjust any habits or energy, any way that he's putting out energy in ways maybe that are not being received and maybe not necessary, or open his mind to shifting his energy. I just pray, Father, that will open his mind, bring presence and peace to his heart and to his soul. Help him to give in generosity, and also to be wise about where to give his precious energy so that it is the most useful. Sometimes, Father, we try to rescue other people and we try to put ourselves as a savior, but I just pray that we can connect each person to source, to their Heavenly Father, to their creator, so that they can each create in the way that is best for them, and be able to take responsibility for their own lives. And I just pray for a shift in this energy, and we just say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So this is my, like, I always love to bring prayer into that. Now, as you go through it, not every emotion requires that length of discussion with Heavenly Father, but I would always just be open and willing to have the conversation, right? Like with yourself, with like however you connect to your creator or to source, and also be willing to connect with people that get to be brought into that conversation, right? Like there's another lady, Amy Jo Ellis, who has built out this whole Court of Atonement methodology, which I find very supportive. Just in the fact that you can bring in anybody into your space and having a conversation with them, right? Like not necessarily in person, but just in spirit, right? Like just, you can have a one-on-one first person conversation with that person, or, bring them, in her languaging, I really meld this intuitively based on what I feel the situation warrants in any given moment. And I just seek inspiration of how to language. And so it's just, I guess the invitation is just to open your mind to the ability that you have to have first person conversations in spirit with a person, to resolve your timelines back to a point of origin, and to heal whatever, bring forward the healing into the space, into the present, right? Just like there was something that you said, Margarita. I'll just wrap up quickly on this point, but there was something that you said about, I used to smoke and I don't even feel like that was the same person, right? So you have made a shift in your energy that has now transformed your memory even of who you used to be. And you've brought into in the scriptures we learn from, like, Jesus Christ teaches us that when we repent, and he'll forgive us and he'll remember our sins no more. And so that's really the eternal principle, right? Like you can bring, it's a simple way that even a primary child can understand. And you can study the quantum physics about how you can, time jump into the past and bring it, like heal that energy and bring it forward. There's a lot of wisdom and understanding there, just in that belief that we can change, like, and we can feel that we have recreated history. So that's my gift to you. Thank you, Margarita. So grateful to be here.
Thank you. I just love that you took us on the journey and actually it gave us the example of what it looks like to, take the time to listen to your body, and how powerful it is to empower us with this ability to figure out what column and what row are we getting stuck in. Right. And so this holiday, when you sit in and finding yourself and repeating the same patterns, feeling the same way, hey, check out the emotion code chart. Hey, energy medicine. Hey, do something better then. I mean, all these beautiful tips we've learned in these last 2 days are all things that I know I'm going to watch again and make the notes of what I want to implement in my life. That's where I get to go. So thank you so very much in your giving generosity and showing up today to share your wisdom and heart with the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate sharing my gift.
Yes. So as we wrap up, I'm going to end maybe 1 or 2 minutes early because I get to jump on a coach's call today. But I wanted to let you guys know that we're talking about energy. Sorry, we'll talk about essential oils tomorrow, and how they're really great at balancing and healing and comforting stress, overwhelm, trauma, grief, joy. And I remember I went to a party and I had just gotten my joy essential oil from Young Livings, and it has a bunch of oils in it, like rose and jasmine and a bunch of other beautiful oils. And I was sharing it with my friend, and my friend's sister-in-law was there. She's like, "Oh, put them on me. It smells so good." And she came back to me like 2 or 3 minutes later. She's like, "Okay, seriously, what did you put on me? Because I feel different." Like I didn't dilute it. It was straight from the bottle. So she got like the full force of it. And she like instantly was like, "I need to get some of that because I struggle." She struggles from, just addiction and things like that. And so she's really she just went through Landmark Forum, actually. I was trying to enroll her in HCL. I could still connect with her actually to see how it went. But yes, she was like completely shifted from just smelling and having an essential oil in her skin go into her bloodstream, and it changed her, like, her way of being. do that. So your homework that I want to give you today is just to pick a technique that was shared today and implement it. And do it at least for 7 days straight. And journal and see like what has shifted. Did anything shift? Did you reframe limiting beliefs? Is your mindset shifted to a growth mindset from a fixed mindset? It doesn't have to be one, you can pick 2 or 3, but I'm giving you small tidbits because I know we have long to-do lists, especially at the holidays. So just have grace with yourself. If you don't do it 7 days in a row, it's fine. Just do it another extra couple days. Because when you do things like things that were shared today, first of all, it takes years for us to break a bad old habit. And it takes just not as long, but it takes time for us to create and build upon new healthy habits. And I just did a 30-day healthy habits challenge on my Facebook page where it was just one little thing a day that you could do. And if you do it that day, do it the next day, and then before you know it, it's like a new habit that you formed. And it's just as simple as smiling to the person that's walking next to you, because it could really shift. As I shared earlier, it could really shift someone's whole entire way of being. And you never know, they might actually choose life that day because of it. You extending a smile, sharing your gifts, like Vanessa said about it, sharing your creative gifts with someone is another great way to just lift someone up from where they are. So I want to thank you today for being here. And I hope that there is something that you took away from today. And if you find value in this mastermind, please share it with your friends and family this holiday, because a family that heals together connects and grows stronger bonds. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the speakers today and for my VIP guests who are here and participating and engaging and sharing their hearts with the world. So thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is a much, much, much bigger day where we talk about igniting your passion and purpose for the holidays so that you can heal and live your best life. So next time, my friends, make sure that you keep those energies flowing and that you are kind to yourself and others. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh. I think today was so awesome.
Woo!